Chapter 574. The beast hordes around the ice forest were split into three groups. Lizard beast, giant human beast and flying beast, these were the sector lord pinnacle beasts that led these three groups. Masha Luofeng's ice bear form was slow and foolish, walking along with the other beasts. After about 3 hours, he finally walked out of the beast hordes area. Damn! Ice bear Luofeng let out a sigh of relief within. He turned and glanced back. Within the vast ice forest, there were many beasts living. I've finally walked out of the beast hordes area. Only then did Ice Bear Luofeng relax a little. The originally foolish Ice Bear's eyes gleamed as he looked ahead. Ahead, it was still the vast ice forest. Only occasionally there would be a foolish beast that got separated from its group. Anyway, there's no way to retreat. At the other end of the cave, that sector lord is guarding it. Right now, I can only continue forward. Ice Bear Luofeng occasionally sprinted, at times leisurely. In a short while, he couldn't see any other beasts in his field of vision. All he could see was the vast ice forest. This ice forest, he couldn't even see the end. Luofeng continued to advance in his ice bear form. Ong! Howl! The demon notes were sometimes strong and sometimes weak, invading his soul and confusing his consciousness. The moment he was completely affected, he would become a zombie. This is troublesome. Ice Bear Luofeng's advance speed slowed, his silver eyes filled with worry. The deeper I go into the forest, the more terrifying the demon notes I'll occasionally meet. Chi! The silent demon notes invaded Luofeng's soul. Ice Bear Luofeng's body trembled slightly. This demon note strength, even a normal sector lord level 3 would be immediately controlled. Luofeng was shocked within. According to the many islands and information in Fantasy Ocean, he could roughly guess the willpower and consciousness level of one's strength. Just in terms of willpower, he was probably comparable to an undying. It was just that his consciousness was weak, hence he was stuck in Fantasy Ocean's 10th island. And the demon notes. They didn't have any consciousness pressure, they were just illusions. Hence Luofeng was better at resisting. This was also the reason why he chose Demon Note Mountain. Me. An extremely peculiar sound pierced through Luofeng's soul. Immediately, 10,000 illusions appeared, one after another causing one to be immersed in them. Just passing through these 10,000 illusions would take who knows how many years. Break. It was a will that was pure to the extreme. There was absolutely no compromise, and it completely abandoned all influences. Whoosh! The ice bear transformed into a stream of black gas, which then condensed into a human form. Finally, it transformed into the human form of the black-horned youth. This place was already more than 100,000 kilometers away from where they first discovered the phantasmal beast. In addition, they hadn't found any phantasmal beasts for more than 100,000 kilometers, so it was better to return to human form. Switch. Luofeng returned to his earth body. It was best not to reveal the Masha clansman body normally. Luofeng looked at the ice mountain beside. That demon note earlier, even Sector Lord level 6 or 7 probably wouldn't be able to handle it. How strange. Luofeng creased his eyebrows. I've been in Demon Note Mountain for a while, but the demon notes I've met in the caves are mostly very weak, even universe levels can withstand it. Occasionally, he would encounter a level that could bewitch the universe, and very rarely, he would encounter a Domain Lord level demonic note. As for those that can bewitch the Sector Lord level, it's very, very rare. Looking at the vast forest of ice mountains in front of him, Luofeng frowned, feeling even more peculiar. This ice forest, the demon note's power was simply too terrifying. Looking at the situation, the deeper he went, the stronger the demon notes would occasionally appear. If this went on, he would probably meet one that could bewitch the Sector Lord Pinnacle. If it grew stronger, it would probably be a demon note that could bewitch the Undyings. At that time, even Luofeng wouldn't have the confidence to withstand it. Continue? Luofeng pondered. Go. Luo Feng gritted his teeth, his eyes gleaming. I'm very clear on my limits. This demon note is still very far from it. I want to see just how strong the demon notes in this ice forest are. Luo Feng continued forward. As he continued forward, the demon notes he met were sometimes strong and sometimes weak. However, overall, the demon notes were indeed growing in strength. After walking for another 100,000 kilometers or so, Li Tianlan suddenly stopped. That demon note before was the most terrifying one I've met since entering Demon Note Mountain. It should be able to bewitch normal sector Lord Pinnacle warriors. Luo Feng gritted his teeth, squinting his eyes. His gaze was like a blade, almost materializing. The gaze was the window to the soul. Obviously Luo Feng was already extremely alert. His willpower and consciousness were condensed to the max. There's still a long way to go before my limit. Luo Feng continued forward, maintaining his alertness, not daring to be careless. However, after walking for just over 2,000 kilometers, he reached the end of the vast ice forest. 3 familiar wide cave passages appeared in front of him. Cave passages? I've reached the end of the ice forest? Luo Feng smiled, suspicious within. This ice forest is filled with strong demon notes. Are there any other secrets? Luo Feng turned around, looking at the vast ice forest that stretched for 100,000 kilometers. He felt that this ice forest should be special. I'll randomly pick one. Luo Feng immediately walked towards the center of the 3-wide cave. This cave's width was close to 20 kilometers. Its height was about 7 to 8 kilometers. Compared to it, Luo Feng was a tiny speck. Like an ant walking on a human's wide walkway, when Luo Feng was about 10 m away from the cave entrance and was about to step in. Rumble, out of nowhere, an unimaginable and terrifying suction force was born in the deep cave in front of him. The surrounding space instantly formed a vortex that could be seen with the naked eye. Some of the rocks and ice on the ground were sucked out of the ground and into the deep cave. And Luo Feng was caught off guard. So, his entire body was immediately swallowed by the vast cave entrance, almost as though he was swallowed by a huge mouth. Damn, what's this? Luo Feng stared. Quang! At the same time that he was being swallowed, a silent demonic sound directly drilled into Luo Feng's sea of consciousness. It was as if a huge gong was violently being struck. Almost instantly, he felt as if his consciousness and willpower were like a boat that had fallen into a raging storm and huge wave. The huge waves came one after another, and the boat seemed like it could capsize at any time. So, because of the demon note's interference, Luo Feng was in a situation where he could capsize at any moment. He couldn't care about anything else. His entire body was swallowed. Qi. 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 Luo Feng's arm fiercely shot out incomparably thick dark red vines. Some of the vines directly pierced into the ground, while the countless thin vines grabbed onto the ground. There were even more vines that extended as fast as lightning, grabbing onto the entrance of the cave. The cave was close to 20 kilometers wide, and the domain Lord Level 9 Cloud Contact Vine, every vine's length far exceeded this distance, almost like a huge octopus with many claws, madly grabbing onto the cave entrance. The plant life strength was unbelievable. Rumble, the terrifying swallowing energy, even with the Cloud Contact Vine's desperate struggle, the vines still began to break apart. Pop, pop, pop. They forcefully broke apart. The ice that was penetrated by the leaves were immediately peeled off. My God! The demon note came and went quickly. Luo Feng immediately regained his consciousness. Seeing the vines break apart, he immediately roared within, change. So, the Earth deity instantly turned into the Masha clan clone, and the Masha clan clone had already turned into a 30 centimeters long, 6 centimeters wide shuttle, the widest part. The two ends of the shuttle were pointed, the middle was round, and it was slippery. As the shuttle's size was much smaller than a normal human's, along with its structure, It caused the swallowing energy to be a few hundred times weaker than when it was in human form. So, the space darling, the Masha clansman, after the swallowing energy was only a few hundredths of its original strength, it finally calmly resisted it and swiftly flew out of the cave. When the Masha clansman's shuttle was over 100 m away from the cave, the terrifying swallowing energy from before immediately vanished. The shuttle became a black energy flow and formed a human form. Luo Feng stared at the center of the 3 caves before him, recalling the scene before. He couldn't help but feel a chill within. I was instantly hit by the demon note, even I had to risk my life to resist it. A normal sector Lord Pinnacle definitely wouldn't be able to withstand it. And that swallowing energy, after the Masha clansman transformed, it still relied on its proficiency in space laws to charge out. Luo Feng looked at the cave entrance ahead, filled with fear within. If he was sucked in, what would the outcome be? No idea. Luo Feng. Only now did Babata's voice resound. This is a classic death trap of the universe's secret regions. What death trap? Luo Feng asked within. In the vast universe, the strangest and most unpredictable are the many secret regions. These secret regions are all special changes that occur when the primal universe begins to evolve, resulting in many secret regions. All the secret regions can't be exactly the same. And the danger levels are different too. Some of the dangers are out in the open, even though it's terrifying, that's still fine. However, some of the dangers are very sudden, it seems like it's safe, yet danger suddenly descends. Just like the cave entrance before you, this Demon Note Mountain has trillions of tunnels, the others are all very safe. Only you entered without any wariness, suddenly being attacked by the swallowing energy and Demon Note. I dare say deep within these caves, there are even more terrifying dangers. Babata said, these sudden and unforeseen dangers are considered death traps. I wonder how many undyings there are. How many overflowing geniuses? How many absolute beings have fallen in these death traps? Babata said. Luo Feng was stunned. He suddenly remembered his teacher Tru Yen had once told him about an absolute genius, a sector Lord Pinnacle who could kill an official level undying. However, that peerless genius eventually died in the universe secret realm. Even though the absolute beginning region is controlled by the Virtual Universe Company, there are still a few special regions that even the Virtual Universe Company can't completely control. Babata said, like Blood River World, or the depths of Demon Mountain, they are all like that. You have to be careful. Back when I followed your teacher, I've seen too many of these situations, too many warriors have died here. These death traps, some contain treasures, some are truly dead ends. Luo Feng nodded, after which he turned to look at the other 2 caves on the left and right. Head back, there's no way out. That sector lord is guarding there to the death. Head forward, there are 3 caves ahead, I can't go through the middle one. How do I go? Chapter 575. The 3 caves were before him. Since there was no turning back, Luo Feng once again became a shuttle and attempted to enter the left cave. There's no swallowing energy, nor that terrifying demon note. After flying for more than 100,000 kilometers in a single breath, he finally reached the end of the cave passage. There were 38 other rock and ice passages in front of him. At the same time, he saw the remains of 3 corpses on the ground. Someone has been here before. Looks like it's still safe. The shuttle in human form, he couldn't just keep flying in shuttle form, other warriors and spirit readers would be shocked if they saw him. 3 days later, using his earth body to disguise as the black-horned youth, Luo Feng carefully moved forward. His mood was relaxed. Ever since he left the ice forest through the left cave, he hadn't met any more peculiar situations, everything was normal. Just like when he first entered Demon Note Mountain, occasionally meeting aboriginals or lone beasts, the threat of the Demon Note wasn't that big. Now it seems the ice forest region is indeed special. Luo Feng recalled his experience. The deeper I went into the ice forest, the stronger the demon notes attack, until I reach the end. Until the end, when I meet the swallowing and demon note attacks. After escaping from that, I haven't been in any danger until now. That deep and serene cave was the stopping point. I keep feeling that there's some sort of secret in that cave. Luo Feng subconsciously thought so. What are you thinking about? Thinking about the swallowing cave in the ice forest? Babata's voice resounded. I knew you would think about it. Right. Danger is often accompanied by opportunity. This kind of death trap is very scary, danger after danger, but if you can survive it, you might be able to obtain shocking rewards. Babata said, this is also the reason why many great existences like to explore the universe's secret regions. However, one has to know one's own limits. There are countless treasures in the universe, but many powerful beings have fallen one by one in front of those treasures. Babata said, your strongest golden-horned beast hasn't even stepped into the Sector Lord level. You want to enter such a death trap? Even undyings can fall. As for you, your chances of death are over 99%, unless you're really lucky. Luo Feng immediately woke up. If the entrance was already this terrifying, then perhaps he really wouldn't be able to withstand it from the inside. The more powerful you are, the bigger the things you can do. Don't be greedy. Greed will cost you your life. Luo Feng looked at the endless rock and ice cave in front of him. The cold air invaded his body, and he couldn't help but feel small. Compared to the many mysterious places in the vast universe, his strength was simply too weak. Even undyings fell one by one. Compared to them, he was just an ant. Work hard. Only by becoming a true absolute warrior, in this vast universe where the strong are as numerous as the clouds, can I control my own fate. Only then can I protect my home and family. Luo Feng took a deep breath. Continue forward. Luo Feng was walking in the depths of the ice cave. There was a skinny man about 2.6 meters tall who looked like a bamboo pole at first glance. He had 2 long silver horns on his forehead and a goatee. He looked a little old and gloomy. This skinny old man with a goatee was lying on a deck chair carved from a layer of rock and ice. Golden light flashed faintly between his eyes as he closed them. He was even humming comfortably from his nose. More important, heavier. 2 aboriginal youths, one was massaging his legs while the other was massaging the skinny old man's shoulders. Beside them stood 12 youths that were either delicate, handsome, simple and honest or brave. There were universe levels and domain lord. The skinny old man opened his eyes, smiling as he looked at the universe-level youth who was massaging his legs. Come here. Ancestor. That universe-level youth swallowed his saliva. The ancestor wants you to go over. Beside him, a domain lord-level man shouted. That universe-level youth nervously approached. The skinny goatee old man laughed, reaching out with his skinny hand, grabbing the youth's hand, praising. Being young is indeed different. That universe-level youth seemed to feel uncomfortable all over. His body trembled and he fiercely retreated. Interesting. The skinny old man smiled. His powerful world energy pressured the universe-level youth, almost like a rope binding him, causing him to be unable to move, pulling him right before him. Just kill me, just kill me. That universe-level youth suddenly shouted, tears flowing out of his eyes. You really have courage. If you have the courage, you can kill yourself. The skinny old man suddenly turned and looked into the distance of the tunnel. In the distance, a black-horned youth was walking, and he too stopped abruptly. The distance between the two was over 100 kilometers. However, at this time, they could clearly see each other. Woo, tsk, yet another universe level 9 punk. Look at his eyes, vigilance, introverted, and determination. Yet I don't see any fear? Top quality goods, I like it. The skinny old man smiled. Kamru, go personally and capture him for me. Yes, teacher. Beside, the strongest domain Lord Level 9 man replied respectfully, after which he became a beam of light and shot over. Luo Feng looked at the distant skinny old man, especially since he was releasing his energy. He felt something was amiss. Sector Lord Warrior, probably Sector Lord Level 6 or 7. Flee. Luo Feng turned and fled. Whatever my old ancestor fancies, he can forget about escaping. A silver-horned man was like lightning, swiftly chasing. Little punk, don't worry, my old ancestor won't kill you, he'll only love you. Luo Feng's expression changed, goosebumps rose. Damn. A punk that liked men. In the universe there were trillions of races, and there were many that liked men. However, the human race's general custom was to have men with women. That was the path. And for those that liked men, even though Luo Feng was annoyed, he didn't care. However, now it was his turn. How could he not be disgusted? Haha, Luo Feng, I didn't expect you to encounter such a situation. Babata said. That disgusting old man. Luo Feng cursed. I saw the universe-level youth beside him before, he probably forced himself on her. How disgusting. So, the domain Lord Level 9 silver-horned man swiftly chased. Hence from the start, the distance between them was over 100 kilometers. With this chase they were instantly thousands of km away. Don't resist, otherwise I'll accidentally hurt you. When that happens, the old ancestor will feel heartache. The silver-horned man immediately rushed ahead of Luo Feng. Go and die. Luo Feng's eyes were cold. So, changing his body, immediately changing into the Masha clansman Luo Feng's appearance. Because of this, Luo Feng's goosebumps rose, hence he couldn't be bothered to use his earth body to kill him. Even though his earth body could kill a domain Lord Level 9 with the cloud contact vine, it would take more time and trouble. With the Masha clansman, it was much simpler. So, illusionary figure. Luo Feng's body immediately appeared behind the silver-horned man, his blade flashing. Chi. The blade swept past the silver-horned man's chest, immediately slicing through the gaps in his armor. The blade energy ravaged and destroyed his life core. The silver-horned man stared wide-eyed. This. The originally weak opponent instantly vanished, following which he was killed. He had no way to resist at all. Damn disgusting. Luo Feng glanced at the corpse, immediately his body flickered and he fled far away. The goatee old man laid there, frowning. Why hasn't Kamla returned yet? Teacher, maybe that universe-level punk would rather die than obey. Senior should spend some more energy. Another domain Lord Youth beside said. Humph. The goatee old man snorted softly. His world energy emanated and extended, immediately reaching the silver-horned man's corpse. Rumble. The goatee old man stared angrily, fiercely waving his hand. The universe-level youth that he was toying with immediately exploded, his entire body becoming minced meat and bones, scaring the people around to get out of the way. My Kamlu, who killed you? I want to kill him! The goatee old man roared, immediately becoming a beam of light and rushing over, simultaneously his world energy madly extended. However, with Masha Luo Feng's speed, he had long left the tunnel. How could this old man find him? Luo Feng fled 1,000,000 km in one breath, passing through 7 tunnels before stopping. Even though I've heard of it and seen it before. However, this kind of warrior who likes men actually wants to capture me. It's really disgusting. Luo Feng turned to look. My current strength isn't enough if I wanted to use the golden horned beast. However, this cave is only 10 kilometers wide. The golden horned beast's body is so shocking. I can't move at all. Forget it. Luo Feng shook his head, too lazy to think. If he had enough strength, he would have slapped this punk to death long ago. Half a day later, Luo Feng sat on the ice to rest. He split a bit of his consciousness to connect to the virtual universe network, playing with his wife Su Xin and a large group of children. Primal chaos state training for a little over 30 years. 100 years in the primal universe, along with 80 years on Blood River World. This had caused Luo Feng's family to undergo a complete change. Luo Feng, 19. 2 kilometers ahead, there's a Domain Lord Level 9 man advancing. Babata's voice resounded. Luo Feng's consciousness swiftly returned. He looked up ahead. In next to no time, the figure of a 9th-rank region Lord Realm man appeared ahead. The man's figure was short and robust, and he had a pair of black curved horns. Another Domain Lord Level 9? Luo Feng shook his head. Over 10 kilometers away, the short man looked at Luo Feng, his eyes gleaming with a ferocious light. P.S. 2 chapters completed. Today's first chapter was late, poor tomato. He owed everyone a chapter. Chapter 576. Universe Level 9? The short man Pata looked at the distant black-horned youth and laughed coldly within. Punk, it's your bad luck to meet me. Patua. He was one of the 6 from the 1000 star sect. Pu had chosen 6 from the 1000 star sect, 3 sector lords and 3 domain lord level 9s. Moreover, Marquis Pu had even given 3 E9 laser guns to each of the 3 area lords. Clearly, Marquis Pu had left her trump card on these 3 people, and Pa Tuo was one of them. These few days in Demon Note Mountain, Pa Tuo had been extremely careful, afraid that he would walk into a dangerous place and be turned into a zombie by the Demon Note. At the same time, along the way, he had wantonly killed many universe levels and domain lords. Usually, when he met a world overlord, he would flee. However, there was once a world overlord who chased after him. At that time, Pa Tuo didn't hesitate to use this E9 grade laser gun. The power of this laser gun was truly terrifying, instantly killing that world overlord. Even sector lords that meet me die. It feels great to have this E9 laser gun. It's a pity I can only use it for a short period of time. After I leave Demon Note Mountain, I'll have to return it to the god. Pa Tuo couldn't bear to part with it. He was very clear how expensive this E9 laser gun was. Even with his entire fortune, it probably wouldn't even amount to 1% of it. Pa Tuo laughed coldly at the distant black-horned youth. Punk, if you want to blame someone, blame the god. So, Pa Tuo became a bolt of lightning and rushed at Luo Feng, preparing to begin his 762nd massacre since entering Demon Note Mountain. Walking in the cold ancient cave, Luo Feng looked at the short man. Domain Lord Level 9? No threat. He actually rushed over. If you had the demeanor of a strong warrior and didn't bully a universe level 9 like me, I wouldn't have bothered to kill you. However, don't blame me now. Luo Feng's attitude was the same as before. He didn't even put a Domain Lord Level 9 in his eyes. After all, just the Cloud Contact Vine alone was already a Domain Lord Level 9. Rumble. Luo Feng fiercely stomped on the ground. The layer of ice on the surface immediately cracked open, his entire being rushing at the short man. Clang. His blade was unsheathed. Haha, a universe level 9 punk dares to attack me. Pa Tuo's eyes flashed with disdain and a cold smile. His entire body was wrapped in lightning as he wielded a curved blade. In an instant, he arrived before Luo Feng and his curved blade became a bewitching blood and green-colored moonlight. Hua! The moonlight swept towards Luo Feng's head. Good blade technique. Luo Feng revealed a smile. His silhouette flashed and actually got within 2 to 3 meters of Pa Tuo. His blood shadow blade too lit up with a resplendent light. Dim Shadow 7 Absolute's blade, Dutchman's pipe. Clang. The moment their blades clashed, Pa Tuo, who was originally full of confidence and had a sinister smile on his face, suddenly paled. He felt an unimaginably terrifying impact from the moment their blades clashed. The impact was so strong that even he, a rank 9 region lord, was slightly unable to resist it, and his arm felt slightly numb. How is this possible? Pa Tuo's heart was in turmoil. He's only a universe level 9, how can one blade have such terrifying power? Domain Lord level 9 and universe level 9. The difference was an entire level. In terms of energy, the difference was about 1,000 times. In theory, one move should have been enough to kill him. There's definitely no such sick person in 9-star Ocean. Don't tell me he's someone from the virtual universe company with some background? Many thoughts flashed through Pa Tuo's mind. According to what he knew, to be able to let a universe level 9 explode with such terrifying power, it had to be some support life forms. Support metal life forms, support plant life forms, support energy life forms, etc. These could possess a body. The moment they possessed a body, it would allow the owner to unleash an extremely strong power. Don't tell me he's the target of the god? The reason his attacks are so strong is because of the cloud contact vine? Pa Tuo suppressed his excitement. Even if he doesn't have the cloud contact vine, he definitely has other support life forms. In Demon Note Mountain, there aren't many people with backgrounds. The chances of him being the god's target is very high. Kill! Use the laser gun to kill him. The moment their blades clashed, many thoughts flashed through Pa Tuo's mind. He immediately decided to use the E9 grade laser gun. Because from what he could see, even if the person before him wasn't the target, he was definitely a powerful person. With that thought in mind, Pa Tuo naturally wanted to increase the distance between them. Hurry and leave. Dang. 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 The moment Luo Feng got close, along with his illusionary movement and Dutchman's pipe, it was incomparably terrifying. The close-range flashes of the blade were indeed dangerous. Pa Tuo wanted to dodge and flee, but Luo Feng's blade was simply too powerful. He didn't dare to be distracted. In the blink of an eye, the two had clashed over 10 times. Chi. The two immediately separated. As Pa Tuo retreated, he let out a sigh of relief within. I finally found a chance to retreat. This punk's use of the blade is like a madman, killing at such a close range, it's too crazy. Luo Feng, however, sighed within as he saw this. The cloud contact vine is ultimately just a support plant life form, even though it allows my strength to explosively increase. This strength ultimately isn't mine. When I use it, it's obviously not perfect. Even when I unleash my blade techniques, it's not at its peak. Otherwise, even if he could escape earlier, he would at least be injured. His thoughts flashed within. Trying to escape? Luo Feng roared and rushed. Dream on. Pa Tuo became lightning and swiftly distanced himself, simultaneously smiling as he turned to look at Luo Feng. The cloud contact vine's speed wasn't fast enough under its support state. Luo Feng frowned and waved his hand. 18 thin vines extended from it. As they grew longer, the vines became thicker and thicker. The 18 dark red vines immediately became 10 thick, almost like 18 terrifying pythons. On them, there were even vines and leaves that wrapped around the domain Lord level 9. Pa Tuo. Die. Luo Feng couldn't be bothered to chase. Haha, it's indeed you. Pa Tuo, who was escaping, let out a maniacal laugh. While the 18 thick, long, crimson vines were closing in on him, a mechanical object appeared in front of him. It was a pure silver-white object. At first glance, it looked like a mutated rocket launcher. The diameter of the barrel was a shocking 1 m. The body of the gun was 3 m long. It had an energy slot and a handle. One could grab this terrifying thing with one hand. This mechanical weapon was obviously much smaller than the Star Annihilator Luo Feng used before. It was a single soldier's weapon. However, the texture of the weapon and the muzzle gave off a strange sense of threat. It was terrifying. The warning light on the energy slot behind the weapon had already lit up red. Obviously, the Domain Lord Level 9 opponent had activated it the moment he took it out. Luo Feng used the cloud contact vine. The thick vines were like huge pythons as they wrapped around the opponent. However, the sudden appearance of the mechanical weapon stunned Luo Feng. "What's that?" Luo Feng was shocked. "Laser gun?" It wasn't that he hadn't seen a laser gun before. Back in the Sector Lord world, however, the structure was obviously different. "Flee! Luo Feng! Danger!" The moment that weapon appeared, Babata's shrill voice immediately resounded in Luo Feng's mind. "That's the automaton's E9 grade laser gun, and it's even the XTH 122 series of E9 grade laser guns. It can be said to be a top-quality E9 grade laser gun. Its charging time is only a short 0.1 seconds. The moment it's charged up, it can instantly shoot out a terrifying super-strong laser. Even an E9 grade alloy would be pierced by this super-strong laser. Normal Sector Lord Level 9 warriors without special treasures would die." Luo Feng's heart twitched. His hairs stood up. His eyes stared wide open, staring at the distant opponent's metallic mechanical object. That was actually an E9 grade laser gun? An unprecedented fear immediately caused his soul to tremble. Even when he met Sector Lord warriors before, Luo Feng had never been in such a predicament. Even when he was swallowed by the mysterious cave, even if he was swallowed, it was still unknown if he would die. Hence Luo Feng had never been so afraid before. At this time, this was the true moment of life and death. The moment the E9 grade laser gun shot out, his 3 clansmen, the Domain Lord Level 9 Masha clansman and the Golden Horned Beast couldn't even block it, because their bodies were far from strong enough. Of course, with the Golden Horned Beast's size, as long as it didn't pierce any of its vitals, there was still hope for it to survive. However, the cave was too narrow, the Golden Horned Beast was too big, it couldn't fit in at all. And to rely on speed to dodge? That was even more unrealistic, because even the fastest Masha clansman, even if it accelerated to its maximum speed, it was still far from light speed. And the instantaneous burst of speed was even further away from its maximum speed. And the super-strong laser shot out by the laser gun, its instantaneous burst of speed was already the limit of the universe light speed. A close-range lock. Light speed shot. His consciousness couldn't even react. How could he escape? Chi. That Domain Lord Level 9 warrior wielded the E9 grade laser gun in one hand and a curved blade in the other, constantly dodging and escaping, at the same time slashing at the Cloud Contact Vine. Even though the Cloud Contact Vine was powerful, it was after all only a Domain Lord Level 9. In terms of level, it was the same as this human warrior. The opponent was purely defending and escaping. The Cloud Contact Vine may be able to kill the opponent, but to kill him in a short 0.1 seconds wasn't too realistic. The thick laser gun's warning light went from red to green. 0.1 seconds had passed. Energy storage complete. Under the Cloud Contact Vine's pursuit, Pa Tuo's expression was furious. He was originally fleeing, but he suddenly stopped and aimed his cannon at Luo Feng. This pinnacle of automaton technology, the E9 grade laser gun automatically locked onto the distant Luo Feng. "Go and die." Pa Tuo laughed savagely and pressed the button. P.S. Chapter 1. Chapter 577. There's no other way. I can only go all out. Luo Feng's eyes were filled with madness. "Babata, take out the automaton ship." "Understood." Babata didn't dare hesitate. Rumble. A 200 m tall silver-white pyramid appeared before him. At the most dangerous moment, this majestic automaton ship blocked the ice cave in front of Luo Feng. "Ha ha ha!" Pa Tuo laughed maniacally and pressed the button. A dazzling beam of light shot out from the muzzle of the E9 grade laser gun. The beam of light was dazzling to the extreme, and just the temperature it contained was more terrifying than the highest temperature of a star. If an ordinary person were to look at it, their eyes would be directly scorched. Chi, the thick crimson vines blocking the way were like fragile tofu, directly turning into ashes, easily pierced through. It didn't have any effect at all. Rumble! The super laser shot into the automaton ship's body. This ship was completely made of a silver-white peculiar alloy. When that terrifying beam that was enough to pierce through a planet hit the ship, immediately, a dent appeared on the surface of the ship, almost as though the silver-white metal had melted. Simultaneously, the entire surface of the pyramid shone with light. The energy within the beam was being absorbed by the automaton ship. This automaton ship was an automaton undying ship. The material of the ship itself was an E-grade pinnacle. It was much more perfect than the alloys the humans of the universe built, and it even had an automatic recovery effect. The ship's surface could absorb energy from attack. It could be said, as an E-grade pinnacle ship, with its energy absorption and automatic recovery abilities. Unless one was an undying, it was practically impossible to threaten this automaton ship. Of course, as Luo Feng suddenly summoned it, he didn't have time to activate the energy barrier. If he could activate it, he would be even safer. Even though it couldn't pierce through the automaton ship, however, not piercing through was even more terrifying than piercing through, because light was made up of light particles. The mass of light particles wasn't zero. Accurately speaking, light was also a form of matter. Because normal light and some of the weaker laser beams didn't gather enough light. Hence the mass wasn't large enough. However, this was a terrifying beam that could pierce through a planet. This was a light beam that could kill Sector Lord Level 9 experts. The light particles within the light beam were simply too massive. Hence, each particle was extremely light. 1,000,000,000,000 light particles were still lighter than a feather. However, when it was gathered to the point where it could pierce through a planet and kill a Sector Lord Peak Level 9, the weight of this light beam was already incomparably terrifying. Boom! This extremely hot beam of light that had also reached an extremely high quality also struck the mechanical race's spaceship. However, it did not pierce through. Therefore, the terrifying kinetic energy contained in this light beam, the entire automaton spaceship was instantly blasted away. Some of the lasers created on Earth in the past mainly relied on high temperature to kill monsters. As for the laser guns in the universe, as their power increased, it increased by 10,000 times, 100,000,000 times, 1,000,000,000,000 times. It continued to increase. Not only did the laser beam possess extremely high temperature, but it also possessed extremely high kinetic energy. Normally, when someone was shot by a laser, there would be a hole in the body. However, because the machinery race's spaceship had forcefully blocked it, it had completely withstood the terrifying kinetic energy. The automaton spaceship was bombarded and flew away in the direction of the laser beam at an astonishing speed. Just like on a billiard table, after the cue hit the ball would shoot out. The automaton spaceship was shot out by this beam of light. As the laser gun was originally locked on Luo Feng, the ship was shot out precisely like a billiard cue, crashing into Luo Feng. Masha clansmen! Change! Luo Feng tried his best to get closer to the walls of the ice tunnel. Simultaneously, the Masha clansman tried his best to get bigger, almost like a huge rubber ball. The center of the rubber ball was empty. His Earth body was within this huge rubber ball. This huge rubber ball stuck closely to the wall behind. Boom! The automaton spaceship that was bombarded by the beam of light immediately crashed into the huge rubber ball. That incredibly terrifying kinetic energy acted on the huge rubber ball. Immediately, the Masha clansman tried his best to transform into an incredibly flexible huge rubber ball. Due to the intense impact, the entire structure began to crumble and crumble. Rumble, a portion of the impact followed the rubber ball and was transmitted to the wall. The entire wall began to tremble violently. The ice layer continued to explode, extending in all directions. Countless shards of ice fell from the wall. That incredibly sturdy black rock started to crack from the shockwave. Some of the shards rolled down and the entire tunnel shook. and the intense beam of light and the automaton ship's surface emitted an unbelievable high temperature. That was much hotter than the sun. The surrounding ice layer began to madly melt and mist rose. Ignoring everything else, Luo Feng's Masha clansman became a huge rubber ball. It immediately crumbled, and within the huge rubber ball hole, the crumbling and vibrating rubber ball caused the space to distort. The terrifying impact directly impacted on his earth body. Rumble. The earth deity was wearing a silver armor that was made of F-grade metal. Even if it was hit by the beam of light, it wouldn't pierce through. Wang the earth body felt the terrifying impact. His body trembled violently. The cloud contact vine armor on his skin immediately broke apart. Following which, Luo Feng's skin too broke apart. Fresh blood flowed out and his bones broke. His eyes, ears and nose too oozed fresh blood. His entire body's bones and tendons were instantly shattered. Silence. Damn! Luo Feng howled within. This was an agitated howl. The reason why he didn't let his earth body return to the internal world at the critical moment was because he had the cloud contact vine on his body. He was wearing an F-grade metal armor. These were all layers of defense. That terrifying energy passed through the Masha clansman. About 30% of it was wasted on the automaton ship, 30% on the walls and 30% on the huge rubber ball. Probably only 1% or even 1/1000 of it was used on the earth body. Through the armor's weakening, through the domain lord level 9, powerful life force and extremely flexible cloud contact vines weakening, the remaining impact only completely shattered the tendons and bones of the earthling's original body, as well as his internal organs. However, at the very least, his physical structure did not collapse like the Masha race's clone. If it wasn't for the armor and the cloud contact vines weakening, the earth body's weak body would probably have been destroyed by the impact. Right now the situation was still alright. Because the Masha clansman's life crystal and Luo Feng's true core were both within the earth body. The life crystal was extremely tough, and the core was even tougher than the earth body. The final impact didn't even break the earth body, the core was naturally fine. Earth body, return to the internal world. Masha clansman, condense. In an instant, the completely crippled earth body along with the heavily injured cloud contact vine vanished. The life crystal once again released a strong black energy and swiftly condensed into Luo Feng's body. Masha Luo Feng. Masha Luo Feng's silhouette flashed and he rushed towards the domain lord level 9 enemy, Pa. He's dead. Pa Tuo wielded the E9 grade laser gun, detecting the huge automaton ship being blasted away and smashing into the human silhouette. Even though it was like a huge rubber ball, Pa Tuo was certain the enemy was dead. This was an E9 grade laser gun. Such an ultimate weapon. How could it not kill a universe level 9 punk? So, Luo Feng appeared before Pa Tuo. Pa Tuo's expression changed greatly. The blade flashed, infused with space laws. It was so fast that Pa Tuo couldn't even react, immediately slicing him in two. The blade also landed on the life core, shattering it. Pa Tuo was dead. The E9 grade laser gun in Pa Tuo's hand also fell to the ground, smashing into the water that had melted due to the high temperature. Luo Feng stood where he was, looking at the body that was sliced in two, looking at the melted water and large amounts of mist. He couldn't help but feel fear. It's simply too terrifying. If the automaton ship's defense wasn't strong enough, it would have pierced right through and continued to shoot me. Without the automaton ship as a buffer, if the laser hit me directly, even though my silver armor is made of F-grade metal, it wouldn't be able to break through. However, the energy within it would still be enough to shatter me into pieces. Luo Feng was very clear, the armor's defense wasn't very useful. This was also why the universe strength armor was more expensive, while these armors were cheaper. It was like a person wearing extremely hard armor walking on the highway, only to be hit and sent flying by a speeding truck. Maybe the armor would be undamaged, but the person would definitely die from the impact. If the person was in the elevator would suddenly fall and smash into the ground. The elevator wouldn't be damaged, but the person would probably die. It was the same logic. The sturdy armor could withstand some special dangers, but against such a terrifying impact, it was much less useful. Luckily, I succeeded in the end. Luo Feng sat on the ground, the rocks on the ground were boiling, the surrounding temperature was at least a few hundred degrees. And this was because Demon Note Mountain was filled with countless layers of ice, hence the temperature wasn't that terrifying. The mist revolved. Luo Feng's gaze landed on the silver-white, simple-looking E9 grade laser gun. E9 grade laser gun? Luo Feng held his breath. This was a true killing weapon, especially with the 0.1 second charging time. It made this E9 grade laser gun have an incomparably terrifying power. Update complete. My monthly votes have been overtaken. Looking carefully, it's actually a double monthly vote event. Everyone please support Tomato monthly votes. Even though I'm busy with the wedding preparations, the updates are still stable. Everyone please support Tomato monthly vote. Chapter 578. Luo Feng's body flashed and he squatted beside the E9 grade laser gun, extending his hand and picking up this seemingly simple automaton masterpiece. He extended his hand and caressed the gun's peculiar material. This material was very similar to Luo Feng's silver pyramid ship. However, he could feel that this laser gun's material was much better. Even though it was a gun, in truth, it was even more shocking than Earth's cannons. The laser gun's muzzle was 1 m. In the vast universe, some universe ships and battleships' main cannons had muzzles that were hundreds or even thousands of meters. This kind of 1-meter caliber firearm in the universe was indeed only in the category of gun. Luo Feng, this is an E9 grade laser gun that only the automaton race can create, the XDH 122 series. It's small in size and has a short charging time. Babata communicated mentally, you should know that technological weapons, even though our universe humans are considered experts, the highest we can create can only kill Sector Lord level 9 weapons. As for creating weapons that can kill undyings, we humans can't do it. Luo Feng nodded. Indeed, from Sector Lord to undying, there was a huge leap in quality. The universe humans, the alloys they created were at most E-grade pinnacle, and the F-grade ones were definitely metals that were born in the universe. Creating technological weapons was the same. After reaching the E-grade pinnacle, there was no way to break through and create stronger weapons. And the automaton race was different. The automaton race, the origin of the universe's technology, all of them were living AIs. They could create weapons that could kill undyings. They could create alloys that were comparable to F-grade or even higher. And these alloys had much better properties than pure metals. Just like back then when Luo Feng was on the UNMO planet ship, the automaton undying's body was actually an alloy body. That alloy was comparable to F-grade metals. For an alloy body to reach such a level of flexibility, toughness, etc., it was indeed an unbelievable thing. This was unique to the automaton race. Other races couldn't do it. Technological weapons that can kill undyings, only the automaton race can do it. Babata continued, of course, the price of those weapons is extremely high. Among the automaton undyings, only very few have such terrifying weapons. Luo Feng nodded. His mechanical race spaceship was only equipped with E3 grade laser cannons and the main planetary obliteration cannon. Although the planetary obliteration cannon was extremely powerful, the charging time was too long, and it was not suitable for close combat. Moreover, the size of the Star Destroyer cannon was not suitable for a single person to use. For the same power, the smaller it is, the more expensive it is. The shorter the storage time, the more expensive it is. This E9 grade laser gun, it's so small, and its charging time is so short, It can be said to be the bane of sector masters. Babata said, even in the automaton race, it's rarely seen. Even your teacher didn't manage to get his hands on this thing back then. How expensive? Luo Feng asked. The price is about 5,000 mixed element. Babata said. To an undying, it's not too expensive. The troublesome part is that it's a restricted item. Even if you have the money, it's hard to buy it, unless you're willing to pay several times the price. So expensive? Luo Feng stared. 5,000 mixed elements was even more expensive than a mechanical race spaceship. Right, this laser gun can be treated as a family treasure. Babata said. For example, if you keep this laser gun in your family, if a sector lord enemy flies into your planet's territory, the moment the planet's security system detects the enemy sector lord, it only needs 0.1 seconds to charge up. As long as the enemy dares to get close, you'll kill it in one shot. The sector lord won't even have time to react. Luo Feng nodded. Right. The Star Destroyer cannon was powerful. It could charge up to 60 seconds. With a sector lord pinnacle's speed, it could fly tens of thousands of km in a second, directly killing its way into a planet's territory. Hence, the Star Destroyer cannon could only be considered a killing weapon during attacks. And the E9 grade laser gun, whether it was used closely, or as a family treasure, or a country treasure, was extremely powerful. From today onwards, Luo Feng caressed the laser gun in his hands, feeling the cold temperature from the gun. I've got another powerful trump card. The Masha clansman's instantaneous burst of speed was shocking, with the Masha clansman wielding the E9 grade laser gun, relying on its shocking speed to last 0.1 seconds was simply too easy. 0.1 seconds had passed. One shot was enough to kill the enemy. Luo Feng kept the laser gun in his space ring, after which he inspected the already frozen body. Even though the surrounding ice had melted due to the high temperature earlier, causing the water to boil, this was after all Demon Mountain. Very quickly, the cold energy from other places permeated the area. Within 10 seconds, the boiling water once again froze, becoming a layer of ice. The water vapor also froze into a layer of ice. Pa. He stepped on the ice and took the space belt from Pa Tuo's corpse. I wonder what's inside. Luo Feng's spirit energy permeated and swept through. With Luo Feng's experience, normal treasures were nothing to him. This Pa Tuo's entire fortune added up was far from even one mixed element. There are over 3,000 black tags here. Luo Feng was overjoyed as he took out the large amount of black tags. They floated in mid-air before him, a huge black patch. Every black tag represented the lowest universe-level human life. Over 3,000 lives. Demon Mountain, it's indeed a narrow escape. Luo Feng shook his head. Let's hope my tag doesn't become someone else's spoils of war. With a wave of his hand, he kept all the black tags. Along with the unexpected gains from this trip, Luo Feng's total number of black tags reached 4,320. So, Luo Feng swiftly flew to the distant automaton ship, carefully inspecting it. The crater from the intense laser beam had already disappeared without a trace. Looks like after a while it'll be completely fine. This alloy has a memory recovery ability, not bad. Luo Feng complimented within. Babata, keep it in your storage space. Understood. The automaton ship that had fallen beside the wall with a layer of ice covering it immediately vanished. In the rock and ice cave, Luo Feng, who was as small as an ant compared to the cave, was swiftly advancing with his blade on his back. Even a lion has to go all out against a rabbit. If I meet a troublesome opponent, I'll immediately switch to the Masha clansman and deal with him. Luo Feng walked, reflecting on the battle from before. The reason why he was in such a dangerous situation was because he didn't care about the Domain Lord Level 9 opponent at the start, resulting in such an outcome. As he walked, Luo Feng frowned. Babata! Luo Feng shouted within. That warrior that wanted to kill me, He shouted, "It's you," and he even took out an E9 grade laser gun that even Undyings rarely have. Firstly, that warrior was only a 9-star ocean aborigine. According to logic, he definitely wouldn't be able to get an E9 grade laser gun. Babata's voice resounded. To be able to get an E9 grade laser gun, he's probably an Undying. And he has a very strong background. Combined with the fact that he said, "It's really you," when he saw the cloud contact vine, and the realm lord who chased after you, everything can be deduced. Some powerful person with a strong background wants to kill you. This person gave the laser gun to the Domain Lord Level 9 warrior, and told him about your unique characteristics. You have a Domain Lord Level 9 cloud contact vine. And the Sector Lord who chased you before, guarding the cave with all his might, he probably did the same. From this we can deduce. This person wants to kill you, and he's arranged for more than one person. There are Sector Lords and also Domain Lords with laser guns. Babata explained. Luo Feng squinted. Who wanted to kill him? He didn't seem to have offended anyone. For a person to want to kill you, it probably involves some upper echelon grudges. Babata continued. I guess there are 3 possibilities. 1 is a faction fight, 2 is personal grudges, 3 is a race war. Because every knight of the Virtual Universe Company leads a faction, you will belong to the 9 Blade Knights faction. If the faction fights are intense, and someone foresees you as a threat, they will want to take the chance to eliminate you. However, to assassinate a genius like this, it's a very despicable method. If they dare to do so, it must be the type with a huge grudge. 2. Personal grudges. You are True Yen Emperor's disciple. Then the grudge between others and True Yen may very well involve you. However, similarly, to dare to do so, they probably have a huge grudge, otherwise they wouldn't take such a risk. 3. Race war. The universe humans and other races fight intensely. Some strong warriors infiltrate other races and assassinate their geniuses. This isn't a rare thing. Luo Feng nodded. All 3 possibilities were possible. Luo Feng, as your strength gets stronger, your position gets higher, then unknowingly, the number of people you offend, or those you haven't offended but still want to kill you, will increase. Babata said, hence you have to be careful. Luo Feng nodded. He couldn't die. The moment he died, the weak foundations of the Earth humans, their fates would immediately change. And with the shocking wealth of the Ping Hai group, they would quickly attract the attention of others. The outcome would be unpredictable. After all, even the Virtual Universe Company was simply too huge. There were crooks mixed in, there were many interest groups. This was a power even larger than a universe country. Luo Feng was even more cautious, advancing, along the way, whenever he met a Domain Lord level 7 or above. He would rely on the Masha clansmen to swiftly deal with them, and those below would be swiftly dealt with by his Earth body. Even though he was careful, killing was inevitable. Just like that, the number of black tokens quickly accumulated to 4,831. Arriving at Demon Mountain on the 75th day, Luo Feng carried the blood shadow blade on his back, walking in the cold ancient cave. Suddenly he squinted and looked into the distance. About 90 kilometers away, there were 2 universe-level youths carrying a beautiful carved bench. On it was a skinny old man with a goatee, occasionally humming. Beside him were 5 other youths. It's him? Luo Feng squinted. That old man? Chapter 579. The skinny goatee old man squinted his eyes as he laid on the bench, occasionally snorting. Ever since Kamla's death, the days have gotten better. The 2 universe-level youths carrying the bench, the one in front looked resolute, his eyelids drooped as he muttered within, I've long heard of this old ancestor Jinyong's evil name. I didn't expect to actually land in his hands in this forbidden area. Bear with it for a while and it'll be fine. This old ancestor seems to be quite sad over Kamla's death. I hope he can endure until he gets out. Old ancestor Jinyong. A Sector Lord warrior with a bit of fame in 9-Star Ocean. His fame was mainly due to his love for men. His disciples were all his concubines, and Kamlu was his first disciple, and also his most pampered disciple. Back when he sent Kamru to kill Luofeng, he was killed by Luofeng instead. This made Ancestor Golden Sun very sad. Kamlu, my Kamlu. Old Ancestor Jinyang sighed within. Teacher! Teacher, there's someone ahead. A shout resounded from the side. HM? Old Ancestor Jinyang fiercely opened his eyes and looked into the distance. Very quickly, he could clearly see the silhouette over 90 kilometers away. That person had a black horn, short black hair, dressed in silver armor. It's him. Old Ancestor Jinyang's eyes gleamed. His mind swiftly recalled the scene from back then. Back then he casually sent his first disciple Kamlu to capture Luofeng. However, who would have thought that his beloved disciple would disappear just like that? Hatred and rage filled his chest. Old Ancestor Jinyang's expression immediately contorted. Little thief! Old Ancestor Jinyang fiercely roared, return my disciple's life! Rumble! That intricately carved bench immediately exploded, causing the two universe-level youths carrying it to dodge in shock. Old Ancestor Jinyang immediately became a golden meteor, and with a flash, he flew into the distance and chased after the little thief Luofeng. I actually met this old bastard here. Luofeng looked at the distant silhouette. Without hesitation, he immediately swapped to the Masha clansman. When Ancestor Jinyang roared and flew over, Luofeng also turned and fled. However, he purposely ran at a slower speed than Ancestor Jinyang. Thief! Elder Jinyang gritted his teeth and his voice resounded within Luofeng's ears. The surging world energy pressured and restricted Luofeng. You actually let me discover you here, haha, prepare to die, go and accompany my dead disciple Kamlu. Roaring, Elder Jinyang swiftly closed the distance between him and Luofeng. Luofeng, who was escaping, looked like he was fighting for his life. His eyes seemed to be filled with fear. However, his heart remained calm. Luofeng, that Sector Lord Level 7 is still 2 kilometers away from you. Babata's voice resounded. The distance between us is about right. Luofeng calculated. Whoosh! A silver-white precision gun immediately appeared in his hand. The body of the gun was about 3 m long. Luofeng immediately raised this E9 grade laser gun and pressed the button. Immediately the warning light beside the energy groove of the gun immediately lit up with a red light. That's... Patriarch Golden Sun's world power spread out and instantly discovered the intricate gun in the fleeing thief's hands. Ancestor Golden Sun was a realm lord after all. The upper echelons of 9-star ocean usually had universe ships, with some quantum computers etc. to connect to the virtual universe network. Through the virtual universe network, Ancestor Golden Sun naturally knew of the laser gun, this sort of intricate and expensive technological weapon. However, he had no way of determining what level it was. This thief clearly has a universe level 9 energy, however his fleeing speed is comparable to a domain lord level 9, and he even killed my domain lord disciple Kamlu before. And now he's taking out this seemingly high-level laser gun. He's definitely not from 9-star ocean. Ancestor Golden Sun swiftly deduced. And the virtual universe company frequently sends extremely high-ranked beings to enter the Forbidden Grounds, and these beings are all universe level 9s. This youth before me could very well be from the virtual universe company. Ancestor Golden Sun's heart trembled. Facing a sector lord and still daring to take out a laser gun, he definitely thinks this laser gun can kill me, or at least threaten me. Ancestor Golden Sun's heart tightened. A sector lord level 7, his thinking speed was extremely fast. Many thoughts flashed past in an instant. Flee. Ancestor Golden Sun didn't dare gamble. He turned and became a golden rainbow, swiftly fleeing. Trying to flee? Masha Luofeng chased at this time. So. Within the endless twisting and turning caves, Luo Feng's instantaneous speed had obviously risen by 10 times, from the Domain Lord Level 9 standard to a speed that exceeded most Sector Lords' instantaneous speed. Maybe after many Sector Lords accelerated to their limits, they would be even faster than Masha Luo Feng. However, his instantaneous speed was obviously much weaker. How did he become so fast in an instant? Ancestor Golden Sun's world energy detected Luo Feng swiftly catching up. His expression changed. Before, he was purposely acting. Thinking about this, Ancestor Golden Sun understood that he had fallen into a trap. The opponent could obviously use that ghostly movement to swiftly flee, but purposely acted slow to slow him down. Without a doubt, that was obviously a trap. I can't escape, what do I do? Ancestor Golden Sun was anxious. He immediately used his world energy to press the button on Luo Feng's E9 grade laser gun, however he couldn't press it at all. Idiot, how can the automaton's technological weapons have such an obvious loophole? How can it allow the enemy to control the weapon with just the world energy? Luo Feng laughed coldly to himself as he held the E9 grade laser gun in one hand. Any high-tech item would usually have some sort of AI. Even the normal ships of the humans in the universe had AI, much less this E9 grade laser gun. After receiving the laser gun, he first had to set the usage right. After confirming the rights, he could use it. After Luo Feng had killed the Domain Lord Pa Tuo, he kept the laser gun and specially let Babata study it. Babata even hacked into the AI and changed the rights. Lord, you are a big person from the Virtual Universe Company, spare me, I was the one who offended you. A sharp voice resounded in Luo Feng's ears. The E9 grade laser gun in Luo Feng's hands lit up with a green light. It had finished charging. Old punk, you can go and die. Luo Feng's silhouette was like a ghost, flashing twice. The distance between the two was only about 800 m. Luo Feng gently pressed the button. The laser gun automatically locked onto its target. A glaring white light shot out from the barrel of the laser gun. At the same time it shot out, it had already hit the Sector Lord Level 7 Elder Jinyang. No. Elder Jinyang stared wide-eyed. The corners of his eyes were about to crack. His eyes filled with fear, unwillingness and madness. He tried his best to dodge, channeling his world energy into the genetic energy armor to protect himself, even forming a world projection around him. Rumble! Under that glaring white light, the genetic energy armor dispersed the force of the attack to his entire body, causing his entire body to immediately crumble. At the same time, the armor too burned and pierced through, from his neck to his thighs, the entire middle of his body was reduced to nothing, and his head and legs that were destroyed from the force of the attack, due to the high temperature of the white light, nothing was left. The white light continued to shoot into the distant walls. Immediately the walls shook, countless layers of ice melted and boiled, becoming a white mist. Voila! Immediately the space around shook. The moment the Sector Lord died, large amounts of items appeared out of thin air and landed around. These were all the items from his inner world that had collapsed after his death, causing them to fall to the outside world. So poor. Luo Feng's gaze swept, black tags. In the distance there was a pile of black tags, with many more scattered around. Keep. Luo Feng immediately kept the black tags along with the valuable treasures. As for the other random items, to core members like Luo Feng, the Virtual Universe Company provided them for free. Naturally Luo Feng couldn't be bothered to keep them. Killing Sector Lords, the number of tags I got is quite a lot. Including this, my black tags have already broken through the 7,000 mark. Luo Feng couldn't help but reveal a look of shock. I didn't even intentionally want to get 10,000 black tags, but who would have thought that I've already reached a little over 7,000. The stronger one was, the more tags he would get. The laser gun-wielding Pa Tuo from before had killed Sector Lords before, hence he had many tags. This old ancestor Golden Sun was strong, hence he had many tags too. Who knows, I might actually be able to get 10,000 black tags. Luo Feng smiled, immediately becoming a beam of light and vanishing. As he explored Demon Note Mountain for a long time, Luo Feng gradually discovered a danger. On a certain day, Luo Feng sat crossed-legged in the cave, his consciousness connected to the Virtual Universe Network, studying the Time-Space Scribbles third volume. He immersed himself in studying, hence he stayed in the cave for 6 consecutive days without moving. However, Luo Feng realized that in these 6 days of sitting there without moving, he had actually suffered 3 terrifying demon note attacks. These 3 attacks were enough to confuse even sector lords. Especially one of them, it was enough to confuse a normal sector lord level 7 or 8. Luckily my consciousness is strong, and I chose Demon Note Mountain. If I chose Ice Mountain, I'm afraid I wouldn't have been able to withstand it long ago. Luo Feng was shocked within. If he didn't come to Demon Note Mountain, and it was someone else, he would have long become a zombie. On the 109th day in Demon Note Mountain. Rumble. A rumbling sound resounded in the distance. Luo Feng, who was sitting crossed-legged, had already turned into an ice statue. His eyes suddenly opened, following which the ice on his body cracked open. Luo Feng stood up and looked into the distance. Someone's there? Following the rumbling in the distance, very quickly, a 300m tall gorilla-like beast was chasing a Universe Level 9 youth. That youth, his entire body was covered in golden armor, moving like a ghost. HM? Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Primal Region Universe Level member Mo Luo? The Virtual Universe Company's Primal Region Universe Level members originally had 3, along with the new geniuses Bolin and Long Yun, they had a total of 5. And Mo Luo was one of the 3 seniors of the Primal Region Universe Level. Wedding leave notice. Today's 2 a.m. is over. Tomato should also ask for leave for his wedding. One wouldn't know before getting married, but after getting married, one could indeed feel the complexity of a wedding. Tomato's wedding required the groom and wife's workplace to be held 3 times. Of course the wife's workplace was the wedding. These 3 times, Tomato would definitely be very tired, and to receive his old friends and classmates, it has to be me. Because my parents don't know my university classmates etc., and I still have to rush for a long journey. Hence, Tomato has asked for 7 days of leave, May 1st to 7th, which is the 7 days of the May 1st holiday, to fully focus on the wedding. I probably don't have the time or the environment to write. Tomorrow 30th, Saturday. Tomato was late 2 days ago, hence I owe everyone 2 chapters. I'll continue tomorrow, no matter what. In April, Tomato would at least not be late. Guaranteed updates. These 7 days of May 1st. Let's give it to Tomato's wedding. At the same time, he would also pull up his monthly tickets, treat it as a wedding red packet, throw it over. Chapter 580. Because of the upcoming qualification battles, Luo Feng tried his best to gather detailed information on the universe-level Primal Region members. In terms of strength, these 3 seniors from the Primal Region were much stronger than the Mother Flame Clan Sa-Jin Fire Dragon he had defeated before. At least for now, in the virtual universe qualification battles, he didn't have any confidence in defeating any one of them. Of course, in reality, that might not be the case. Of the 3 seniors, Luo Feng actually had the best impression of Mo Luo. Mo Luo came from the distant South Fox Universe country. He was originally an orphan from the chaos of war on a barren planet, alone and without a name. After which, he was captured by the Mo family that had over 1,000 life planets and was brought to a camp to nurture the family's elite death warriors. However, in the process of nurturing, Mo Luo displayed an inconceivable talent, so he was quickly taken in by the clan, and was bestowed with the clan surname Mo. Since then, he had the name Mo Luo. After receiving the Mo family's full support and nurturing, his improvement speed was even more ridiculous. Very quickly, even the head of the Mo family, a Universe Level 9 warrior, had nothing to teach him. And not long after, Mo Luo was discovered by the members of the Virtual Universe Company in the various regions of the vast universe, and was immediately absorbed as a special elite of the Virtual Universe Company. The elites absorbed by the Virtual Universe Company also competed with each other. Very quickly, Mo Luo was absorbed as a core member. In the same year, Mo Luo passed Tong Tian Mountain and entered the Sky and Land region. After which, after 2 qualification battles, he killed his way into the Primal region. He became one of the high and mighty Primal region members. Luo Feng and the others went through the Universe Genius battles and finally entered the core of the Virtual Universe Company. And Mo Luo, through the Virtual Universe Company's own elite absorption system, he slowly rose and finally entered the Primal region. Luo Feng, the reason why he had the best impression of Mo Luo. 1 was because of his difficult rise to power. 2 was the battle technique he used, the beast fist technique he created. Fighters mostly used blades, swords, spears, axes, rods, etc. And Mo Luo relied on his body, his fists and legs. According to what teacher Tru Yen said, I always use the secret arts created by senior powerhouses in the beginning, but as my comprehension of the laws increases and the secret arts created by others are no longer suitable for me, it is extremely important to create my own secret art. Luo Feng was very clear on this because 99% of the Undyings all created their own techniques. Secret techniques were not always created as early as possible. When one's comprehension of laws was weak, it was not suitable to create mystic arts. This was because if one's comprehension was weak, it was easy for one to go astray when creating mystic arts. However, the beast fist that Mo Luo created was something that even Tru Yen had praised. Luo Feng has also seen the video of Mo Luo using the beast fist, and he was filled with admiration. In the deep, cold, ancient, and vast cave, a young man wearing golden armor was fleeing while fighting with the tall gorilla phantom beast that was chasing after him. Boom! 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 The cave trembled and the layer of ice cracked. The gorilla beast roared as it punched and slapped. However, the golden-armored youth was incomparably nimble and as fast as lightning. He dodged it time and time again. However, in terms of speed, the gorilla phantom beast was much faster. Soon, it arrived in front of the golden-armored youth with a large stride. Big guy! The golden-armored youth raised his head. Roar! The gorilla beast slapped down fiercely. Whoosh! The golden-armored youth actually stood his ground. Only when the slap was about to land did he rush into the sky to dodge. The gorilla beast immediately stopped waving its hand and waved its palm horizontally. Just as it flipped its wrist, the golden-armored youth quickly pounced on it. Fly! The golden-armored youth hugged the 10 m-long gorilla beast and fiercely waved his finger. Rumble! The 300 m tall gorilla beast was flung into the air and fiercely smashed into the ice layer. Rumble! Such a huge being, it was like a small mountain smashing into the ice layer. It immediately blew away many shards of ice and caused the surrounding ice layer to crack. Because through one finger of the gorilla beast, waving the entire gorilla beast, the finger's joints broke in half. Pah! The golden-armored youth used strength again and broke the finger. Howl! The gorilla beast roared angrily. It climbed up and waved its palm to slap. Not far away watching this scene, Luo Feng was shocked within. With one leap, his entire body was like water, wrapping around the finger. And the moment he used strength, he actually used the beast's own strength to throw the entire beast away. Adding fuel to the fire and using strength, the beast's finger was broken. How exquisite, unbelievable! It seems simple. However, against a palm that was as heavy as a mountain, Luo Feng asked himself. He didn't dare face that huge palm and hug the finger. He didn't have that ability. Mo Luo, Universe Level 9, Golden Armor, Domain Lord Level 9 Support Metal Life Form. Babata said, That beast's energy level is about Sector Lord level 2. Watching his close combat abilities, his entire body is like one body. He's probably able to unleash 100 times his normal strength. The Undying Altar was a test of strength, 100 times was the limit. However, it's useless. The most terrifying thing about the beast is that no matter how heavily injured it is, it won't die. Babata said. Luo Feng nodded. Even if the beast was sliced into pieces, it would still gradually recover. In the distance, the youth Mo Luo was fighting with the gorilla beast. The gorilla beast was constantly injured, however it still had the upper hand. I'll help him out. Luo Feng smiled. So troublesome. Mo Luo stood on the gorilla beast's head and muttered, no matter how heavily injured it is, it's useless. But the gorilla beast's palm waved past. Mo Luo could only swiftly dodge, running on the gorilla beast's huge body. Suddenly, in the distance, a huge silver-white pyramid appeared. That silver-white pyramid's tip too emitted a glaring white light. Laser cannon? Mo Luo stared wide-eyed, immediately dodging 3 times in shock, dodging far away. Chi! A beam of light with a diameter of 200 m immediately swept past the gorilla beast. Half of its huge body was gone, leaving behind only its head and 2 legs. The rest was completely melted. After melting the entire gorilla beast, the beam's energy was weakened by more than half, finally landing on the distant ice wall, only melting a portion of it. Automaton ship. E3 grade laser cannon. The automaton ship, whether it was the 9 E3 grade laser cannons or the 3-star annihilator cannons, they were all large caliber. Like the E3 laser cannon, the laser beam's diameter could be controlled between 30 m to 3000 m. Automaton ship? Mo Luo looked shocked. That silver-white pyramid swiftly vanished. A black-horned youth walked over. Only his skin color had completely returned to Luo Feng's original appearance. Mo Luo. Luo Feng shouted. Luo Feng? Mo Luo looked shocked at him. You've come to Demon Note Mountain too. You're here, but I can't? Luo Feng smiled. Mo Luo was shocked. He had naturally prepared for the qualification battles, amongst the geniuses that could become his opponent. He too paid close attention to Luo Feng. Because this Luo Feng was simply too intrepid. Not long after joining the Virtual Universe Company, he actually defeated Sa Jin and Fire Dragon. Such improvement speed, how could one not feel the pressure? Howl, the gorilla beast's head on the ground actually let out a low growl. Mo Luo looked at the head, his expression changed, shouting, Luo Feng, let's hurry and leave. Quickly. So. Mo Luo swiftly fled. Luo Feng was suspicious, but he too became a beam of light and swiftly followed Mo Luo. Mo Luo was ahead, Luo Feng was behind. The two continuously flew through 3 tunnels before stopping. Luo Feng. Mo Luo landed on the ice layer, smiling at Luo Feng. I've long heard of your name, however I've never had the chance to interact with you. I didn't expect us to meet in Demon Note Mountain. Luo Feng nodded, after which he frowned and asked, Right, Mo Luo, why were you in such a rush to flee? Mo Luo shook his head helplessly. It's like this, actually not far from where I and the beast were, there was a beast nest. These 2 days, I've actually been chased by the beasts, trying my best to escape. However, with my own strength, I couldn't even deal with that beast from before. Using a universe ship? A universe ship is fast in a straight line, however, in the twists and turns of the tunnels, it would sometimes accelerate and sometimes slow down. This speed is even slower than me using my metal life form. Luo Feng nodded. A universe ship's acceleration was usually very slow, requiring a long time before it could reach light speed. Of course, the automaton ship's performance was much faster, however it was still far slower than the Masha clansman's instantaneous acceleration. On my ship, I don't have a laser cannon as powerful as yours. Mo Luo shook his head, hence we've been in a stalemate. Beast nest? Luo Feng nodded. He had encountered it before, the beast nest was indeed terrifying. Anyway, I don't dare to go there again. Mo Luo shook his head, after which he looked curiously at Luo Feng. Luo Feng, how long have you been in Demon Note Mountain? Have you met any danger? Not even 4 months. Luo Feng said, not as long as you. Before he entered, there were already 2 core members that had entered Demon Note Mountain. Obviously now he could confirm that one of them was Mo Luo. Looks like you 2 want to stay for 3 years. Mo Luo's eyes gleamed, exclaiming, this Demon Note Mountain is too dangerous, especially the Demon Note. Luckily I found a pattern. Otherwise I would have long become a zombie. Pattern? Luo Feng looked at Mo Luo. For you to be able to live till now, you haven't discovered the pattern? Mo Luo asked. Luo Feng was stunned. Other than the terrifying swallowing energy in the tunnels, the other demon notes didn't pose a threat to him, hence he really didn't notice any pattern. First of all, you can't stay in one place for too long. As time passes, the strongest demonic sound you'll encounter will grow stronger and stronger. Mo Luo smiled. I'm sure you know this. Even those natives know this. Chapter 581. I know this. Luo Feng nodded. Who? Ruthless. The piercing and peculiar wind pierced right into one's heart, mesmerizing one's soul. However, Luo Feng and Mo Luo continued to stand there and speak normally. The second rule is also the reason I've been able to live till now. Mo Luo smiled. I've separated the demon notes into student level, star traveler level, star level, universe level, domain lord level, and sector lord level. Luo Feng, you should have realized that within Demon Note Mountain, the demon notes are mainly able to mesmerize star traveler to domain lord level. Luo Feng nodded. It was indeed so, there were very few that could mesmerize sector lord level demon notes. The rule I've discovered is this. If there's a star-level demon note, then there will definitely be universe-level demon notes in this region. If there's a star-level demon note, then there will definitely be domain lord-level demon notes in this region. If there's a student-level demon note, then there will definitely be sector lord-level demon notes in the surrounding regions. Mo Luo's eyes gleamed, speaking confidently. The weaker the demon note, the stronger the demon note will be in the surrounding regions. Ah! Luo Feng was stunned. In his mind, he swiftly recalled the places he had been to over the past 100 days. Because these few days, only the swallowing cave in the ice forest made him feel the threat of the demon note. The other places, Luo Feng really didn't care. From student level to sector lord level, these demon notes didn't pose a threat to him at all, hence he didn't have a rule to them. Now thinking carefully, with Luo Feng's quantum computer-like memory and calculation speed, he swiftly recalled the places he had been to and the demon notes he had felt. Right. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. That was indeed the case. There were some regions where the demon notes were star level to universe level. Some were star traveler to domain lord level. There were very few regions where the demonic tunes were between the apprentice level and the sector lord level. As time passed, the distribution of the powerful demonic sounds would constantly change, forcing everyone to be constantly on the move. However, these are useless to me. Luo Feng thought, the demon notes in Demon Note Mountain, under normal circumstances, to be able to mesmerize sector lords is already very exaggerated. Unless it's those mysterious caves. Hence, other than those mysterious places, there's really no threat to me. Luo Feng and Mo Luo, the 2 majesties of the virtual universe company, advanced together. Luo Feng, let's split up after exiting this tunnel. As Mo Luo flew, he said, there are millions and millions of cavern passages in the Demonic Note Mountain. Our choices are different. If we stick together, we will definitely make one side yield to the other. I believe you won't be happy either. Haha, alright, we'll split up in front. Luo Feng nodded. When he was with Mo Luo, his Masha clansman had to be extremely careful when he used it. Whoosh, whoosh. The 2 of them flew quickly, and a moment later, they flew out of the passage. Luo Feng was shocked as he looked ahead. In front of them was a vast plain of ice mountains. There were also huge craters on the plain. Each crater was of different sizes. The large ones were hundreds of kilometers wide, while the small ones were only a few kilometers wide. However, the bottom of the pit could not be seen at a glance. It only felt dark and unfathomable. Luo Feng and Mo Luo landed. What is this place? Mo Luo carefully walked to the edge of a deep pit. Not sure. Luo Feng too walked to the edge of the pit. This pit, it was called a pit, but in truth it was more like an abyss because he couldn't see the bottom. Luo Feng turned to take a look. It was a vast expanse. In this vast ice plain, these abysses could be seen everywhere, countless of them. I don't feel right. Mo Luo frowned. Luo Feng nodded. The two absolute geniuses of the Virtual Universe Company carefully observed their surroundings, simultaneously feeling the demon note's strength. Rumble. Mo Luo, who was standing beside Luo Feng, fiercely kicked out without any warning. This kick was almost like a volcano eruption. That golden boot immediately landed on the shocked Luo Feng's waist. Infused with the Domain Lord Level 9 Metal Life Form's strength, Luo Feng was kicked like a cannonball straight into the abyss. Luo Feng only felt an incredibly strong energy rush through his entire body. Even after the cloud contact vine weakened it, it still made him unable to control the fresh blood that rushed to his mouth. Chi! Fresh blood spat out. Hua! 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 Luo Feng's arms fiercely shot out dark red vines. When they first extended, they were still thin, but very quickly they became incredibly thick. They madly extended and grabbed at Mo Luo. Rumble! This bottomless abyss suddenly produced an unbelievable and terrifying suction force, just like when Luo Feng was in the swallowing cave. Other than the shocking suction force, a soundless demon note pierced into Luo Feng's mind. At this time, the cloud contact vine knew its master was in danger. It couldn't be bothered to grab Mo Luo, who had flown far away. Instead, it madly grabbed at the edge of the abyss, the ice and rock. Yeah! Break! Luo Feng immediately recovered from the demon note attack. Compared to the swallowing cave demon note attack, this time's strength was actually weaker. Mo Luo! Luo Feng's eyes were about to split apart. His eyes were bloodshot as he roared at Mo Luo, who had already flown a few km above the abyss. Why did Mo Luo suddenly attack him? He had a good impression of Mo Luo, and they were both core members of the Virtual Universe Company. Plus Luo Feng felt that the opponent didn't have the ability to harm him. Indeed, in a true ambush, Luo Feng with his clones definitely wouldn't lose. However, at this time, Luo Feng, this is Demon Note Mountain. If I kill you, I'm not guilty. Mo Luo, who flew above the abyss, glanced coldly at Luo Feng. His voice resounded in Luo Feng's ears. Simultaneously, an exquisite gun appeared in his hands. Laser gun. Luo Feng's expression changed. Since he dared to take out a laser gun, he should have the confidence to use it to kill him. Then, it should be an E-grade laser gun. C6 grade laser gun. Babata's voice resounded. Chi. Mo Luo, who was in mid-air, shot a laser straight down into the abyss. This laser was over 100 m away from Luo Feng and shot deep into the abyss. Following which, Mo Luo disappeared in a flash, as if he was fleeing. Suddenly kicking Luo Feng into the abyss, he flew high up and used the laser gun to shoot at the bottom of the abyss before fleeing. The description was slow. The entire process probably took less than 0.1 seconds. That C-grade laser gun's energy storage time was basically 0. Rumble, the terrifying swallowing energy worked on his body. Pa, 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 pa. Under the powerful swallowing energy, the vines broke one by one. Luo Feng didn't seem afraid at all. Instead, his eyes were filled with rage and ferocity. This Mo Luo actually. You want to kill me, then I'll make sure you die. From his resume, A proud, absolute genius actually used such a move to kill him. Masha clansman. Change. Luo Feng immediately vanished and switched to the Masha clansman, becoming a flying shuttle. This flying shuttle was trying its best to fly outward. Suddenly, howl, within the abyss, a low roar resounded. Simultaneously the space around Luo Feng's flying shuttle began to ripple. That terrifying swallowing energy completely worked on the flying shuttle. The flying shuttle swiftly descended. What? Luo Feng was shocked. Change. The flying shuttle became a thumb-thick awl, however the swallowing energy was still there. The awl continued to descend. Change. The awl became a huge boulder that blocked the entire cave. However, the powerful swallowing energy was still there. This huge boulder continued to descend, causing sparks to form between the boulder and the edge of the abyss. Large amounts of rubble fell. Change. Change. Luo Feng immediately transformed. However, no matter how he transformed, the swallowing energy was still as terrifying. And as he descended, that terrifying roar from within the abyss made one's heart palpitate. It's him, Mo Luo. Falling, Luo Feng remained calm, recalling the scene of Mo Luo using his laser gun to shoot. Back then Luo Feng was suspicious. That Mo Luo, why did he use a C-grade laser gun to shoot into the depths of the abyss? It didn't have any power at all. From the looks of it now, Mo Luo's shot should have awakened a certain life form within the abyss. That life form had a swallowing ability similar to the golden horned beast's swallowing ability. Automatically unleashing some sort of swallowing ability, under such a situation, it directly affected Luo Feng. Hence, no matter how he transformed, the swallowing energy was still as strong as before. And if that life form was in slumber, casually unleashing its swallowing energy throughout the entire cave, then Luo Feng would be able to escape after shrinking. Mo Luo must have been very clear of the danger here. Hence he intentionally came here and planned all of this. Luo Feng hated within. Change. Luo Feng, who was constantly descending, finally transforming into an ice bear. Ice bear Luo Feng continued to descend into the abyss. There must be life, there must be life. Ice bear Luo Feng immediately vanished into the depths of the abyss. After a while, a silhouette flashed and stood at the edge of the abyss entrance, gazing downwards. It was Mo Luo with a sharp gaze. Luo Feng. Mo Luo's lips curled up. Looking at the terrifying abyss, you really are dumb. This is Demon Note Mountain. Killing you isn't a crime at all. With your talent, even if you can't threaten me in this qualification battle. However, the next time, in the future, you will still threaten my position. Those who threaten me, the fewer the better. On the path to the peak, I will use any means necessary. Mo Luo said softly. His experiences as an orphan in the war, and the terrifying training of death warriors in the concentration camp, had changed his way of doing things. So, Mo Luo swiftly vanished, leaving only the ancient abyss. Just like 1,000,000,000,000 years ago, no one else knew that the absolute genius Luo Feng of the Virtual Universe Company had been swallowed by the abyss. May 1st to 7th, Tomato would be busy with the wedding. 3 weddings, just thinking about it made him tired. However, marriage was a major event in one's life. He had to treat it seriously. Tomato's wedding. Does anyone get red packets? Give me a monthly ticket. Haha. Chapter 582. Luo Feng was affected by the shocking swallowing force and continued to fall. Who? A piercing howl resounded in his ears. Luo Feng, who had transformed into an ice bear, looked at the walls around him that were like a mirage passing by. His mind was swiftly thinking of what to do. He had already tried all sorts of ways to break free. No matter what he transformed into, it was useless, and Babata had told him before. Luo Feng, the swallowing force is simply too strong. It's even more terrifying than the energy cabin of the automaton ship. Even if you rely on the automaton ship, you won't be able to fly. Luo Feng, who had transformed into an ice bear, looked down at the pitch-black bottomless abyss. The only thing he could do now was to prepare himself and fight for a chance of survival. Falling. Constantly falling. After falling for a long time, Luo Feng was still falling. This made him shocked within. How deep is this abyss? It's much deeper than that huge pit in Blood River World. It's at least 100,000 kilometers deep. The wind howled in his ears as he continued to fall. Luo Feng was unable to resist the swallowing force and could only allow himself to fall. And the long period of falling obviously made him think of other things. Many scenes flashed through his mind. Dad, Mom, wife, Ping Ping, little Hai Hua. Luo Feng muttered within. Looking down at the abyss, it was still pitch black. Why would I think of my family at this time? Looks like even I subconsciously feel like I'm going to die. Luo Feng was very clear that when Mo Luo kicked him into the abyss, especially when he couldn't even break free from the Masha clansmen, his heart had already sunk to rock bottom. He understood. This time he was in deep trouble. The danger this time was much more than the one in Blood River World. Death traps. The death traps in the universe secret regions. Babata had told him about them long ago. He was very clear on them. I'm afraid the chances of me surviving this time are very low. Ice Bear Luo Feng took a deep breath, his eyes gleaming with determination. Against the danger of death, Luo Feng had no fear at all. Maybe from the day he chose to become a fighter, or from the moment he chose to perish together with the golden-horned beast, or from the moment he gave up his comfortable life as a planet leader and chose to walk the path of a universe warrior, Luo Feng was already prepared to die. There are countless fighters in the universe risking their lives to explore, and the ones that become undying, I'm afraid less than 1 in a trillion. Luo Feng looked at the dark abyss below. Walking on this path, I was already prepared to fall. But, as long as there is a chance of survival, I will struggle hard. Mo Luo. Mo Luo's image flashed through Luo Feng's mind. Indeed, I don't see you as a threat, nor do I see you as an enemy. Firstly, it's because I admire you, and subconsciously, I don't want to be your enemy. Secondly, I don't think you would be so stupid as to attack me. The third is confidence that you can't threaten me. Luo Feng sighed to himself, however. I now understand one thing, there's no knowing what's in a person's heart. I can't easily trust others, and I can't be too confident either. Too much confidence is arrogance. Yes. In Luo Feng's heart, Mo Luo's actions before were very stupid. Maybe. Mo Luo used this method to get rid of Luo Feng, one less genius that could threaten his position. This way, Mo Luo would have more time to occupy the primordial secret region's throne. However, from Luo Feng's point of view, this was simply too stupid. This was basically shaking his mental state. As he trained his mental state, Luo Feng was very clear on this. A strong had to have absolute confidence in himself. First confidence, only then could he stand at the pinnacle. If he didn't even trust himself, and use schemes to get rid of some threats, then how many could he get rid of? On the path to becoming a strong warrior, his competition wasn't just limited to the newbies like Luo Feng, there were also the Sector Lord pinnacle geniuses, and the trillions of races in the universe, countless geniuses. How many could he get rid of? He had to believe in himself. Improving himself, that was the path of a strong warrior. Getting rid of one's opponent, this was simply stupid. It had already affected his faith. The moment his faith was shaken, then he would never become a true warrior. Mo Luo, if I don't die this time, you'll regret it for life. Luo Feng looked down. So, Luo Feng became an ice bear. With shocking speed, he plunged down into the bottomless abyss. After a long while, Luo Feng, there's an ice layer below. Babata informed Luo Feng through his thoughts. Rumble. Luo Feng's ice bear was as fast as a shooting star. The 20 kilometers distance was covered in 0.001 seconds. Those two thick legs smashed fiercely into the ice layer below, causing it to rumble and shatter. The ice layer in the distance even cracked open. Under the ice layer, the thick black rock trembled slightly, however it didn't leave any marks. Howl, Lee. All sorts of ear-piercing sounds resounded from all directions. Swiftly descending, following which the ice bear sat on its butt, stupidly sitting on the shattered ice layer, looking in all directions. Looking in all directions, big and small, human-shaped, beast-like, plant-shaped, etc., there were too many beasts, one couldn't see the end. Countless illusory beasts were on top of a meandering iceberg. The silly-looking ice bear slowly stood up. It looked silly, but it was actually extremely shocked. My God, how many illusion beasts are there? Looking at this endless mountain range, there are at least tens of thousands of illusion beasts. Luo Feng was extremely shocked. He didn't expect that the bottomless abyss would actually lead to a true beast nest. Right, how did the swallowing energy from before come about? Luo Feng, be careful. There's a beast 1 kilometer ahead. Its energy level is comparable to an undying. Babata warned in fear. Undying? Luo Feng was shocked. The stupid ice bear looked around. Where would there be any beasts 1 kilometer? There's no other beasts within 1 kilometer of me. In the distance there's a mountain range, there are countless beasts. The ice bear Luo Feng communicated with Babata. Stupid. The ice mountain in front of you is a phantom beast. Babata said. My God. Luo Feng's heart trembled. The stupid ice bear still had that stupid look, just like the other beasts in the abyss world, casually walking on the ice layer. However, his eyes could clearly see the undulating iceberg in front of him, with no end in sight. Ice mountain is a beast? This ice mountain, with one look, it's at least 1,000 kilometers. Luo Feng muttered within. Damn. In terms of size, this ice mountain was probably no smaller than Earth. However, this ice mountain was actually a beast? The ice bear continued to advance in this vast abyss world. This abyss world was extremely vast, and the beasts numbered in the trillions. If the first beast nest Luo Feng discovered was a river, then this abyss world's beast horde would be a vast ocean. Beasts numbered in the trillions. Sector Lord level beasts were frequently encountered. Occasionally, he would even meet some huge beasts with energy levels comparable to undyings. These beasts that were comparable to undyings were all extremely huge. The smallest was 1,000 kilometers, the largest was so huge one couldn't even see the end of it. Who? The ice tree that was 100 kilometers thick, the tree crown was 1,000 kilometers in diameter. Suddenly countless branches shook, creating a terrifying swallowing force, causing the caves above to madly swallow. After a long time, a black-horned man fell down, causing a large number of magical beasts in the surroundings to roar. Tens of thousands of magical beasts roared as they charged forward. A shrill scream rang out. The black-horned man only lasted for a few seconds before he was stomped into meat paste. He couldn't be more dead. Roar, tens of thousands of illusory beasts roared excitedly. Among them was an ice bear that was also roaring. Oh my God! Ice bear Luo Feng glanced at the distant bloodstains, shocked within. Luckily I turned into an ice bear and came down. If I had come down in human form, besieged by countless illusionary beasts, how could he not die? Even if a realm master came, he would definitely die. Luo Feng had only been in the abyss world for 3 days, and he had already discovered trillions of beasts. There were many sector lord level beasts. He even discovered over 20 undying level beasts. Luckily I'm a beast now too. Ice bear Luo Feng shook his huge ice butt. Amidst the countless beasts, he slowly advanced. Luo Feng didn't dare do anything out of the ordinary, just like the normal beasts. Because he didn't know if there were any other powerful beings hiding in the abyss world. Careful! I can't be careless. I'd rather spend more time and slowly advance than be reckless. Luo Feng just slowly wandered in the abyss world. Even though he said he was leisurely, in truth he could advance 100,000 kilometers in a day. In the blink of an eye, 2 months had passed. Luo Feng had lived in the Abyss World for 2 months. This Abyss World is really boring. There's only the beasts, and the weird thing is, there's no demon notes. Ice Bear Luo Feng helplessly advanced. Demon Mountain was split into Demon Note Mountain and Ice Mountain. In Demon Note Mountain, there was actually a huge region with no demon notes at all. That was indeed weird. What's that? Luo Feng looked into the distance. In the distance, there was a faint golden light. As it was too far, Luo Feng couldn't see clearly. Let's go. Luo Feng continued to slowly advance. After a few thousand km, he looked up amidst the beast horde at the floating palaces. Ice Bear Luo Feng's expression was still dumb, however he was extremely shocked within. Floating palaces? Palaces that emit golden light? This abyss leads to a vast space. It's fine if there are countless beasts, but there's actually floating palaces? Luo Feng stared carefully. With a glance, he could see about 32 floating palaces. Every palace had a diameter of 10 kilometers, and every palace emitted a golden light. There were about 23 palaces that were covered in a white light. Almost like a cover, it completely covered the 23 palaces. Ao. A faint and weak mysterious sound resounded from the floating palaces. It didn't have any attack power, instead it made Luo Feng's soul feel incredibly comfortable. P.S. Chapter 1 has arrived. Tomatoes return. After so many days of not writing, today's writing was indeed out of practice. Chapter 583. 32 palaces glowing with golden light floated in mid-air of the endless abyss world, of which 23 of them were covered by the white light, the other 9 didn't. Howl, howl. The beasts that could be seen everywhere looked up at the floating palaces in mid-air, as though attracted by them. So. The beasts would rush up into the sky and jump into the palaces. Pung, pung, pung. Some of the beasts clashed with the white light and fell straight down, crashing into the ice layer, causing it to crack open. After which, the beasts that fell down all stood up stupidly. Some of them actually jumped up again and pounced at the white light of the palaces. Crash. Fall down, fall down. Climb up and jump up again. Crash again. Fall down again. Some of the stupid beasts seemed to have a screw loose in their heads. They continued to crash into the palaces many times before finally giving up. Ice Bear Luo Feng looked up at the 32 palaces. 32 palaces, 23 of them have the white light. Luo Feng looked up. As long as the 23 palaces had the light, the beasts would crash into them like moths to a flame, falling down. Only the other 9 palaces that didn't have the protection of the light had the beasts jumping up and easily entering them. Let's give it a try. Luo Feng shook his fat and sturdy ice bear body and jumped up. So, the white light enveloped the palaces. Through the light, one could only see a bit of golden light, unable to see within. Purring! Ice Bear Luo Feng clashed with the light barrier and fell down. With a crash, he landed on the rock and ice layer, slowly climbing back up. The defense of the light is shocking. My crash didn't even affect it at all. Luo Feng was shocked within. Before, there were Sector Lord level beasts that crashed into it, but they didn't affect it at all. So, Luo Feng jumped up again. With one jump, he crossed a few hundred kilometers. This time he flew straight into one of the 9 palaces without the light. A resplendent golden light shot out. Who? Ice Bear Luo Feng rushed straight into the floating majestic palace. The structure of the palace was very simple. In the center was a majestic hall, surrounded by a stone plaza. There were some phantasmal beasts leisurely strolling around the plaza. Some of them were even lying on the plaza. Ice Bear Luo Feng landed on the plaza and immediately felt the change in temperature. The temperature changed? The temperature here is obviously not that cold. At the same time, he stealthily observed the general structure of the floating palace. The floating palace was divided into a main hall and a plaza. Whether it was the main hall or the plaza, they were all made of black rock. There was no ice at all. There were many strange engravings on the surface of the black rock, and all of these engravings were golden in color. Countless golden runes were imprinted on the ground of the plaza and the walls of the palace. Dazzling golden light was radiating from these mysterious patterns. What mysterious law engravings! Luo Feng looked at the engravings and felt that they were incomparably mysterious. Babata, record it. Understood. At this time, the golden engravings on the walls of the palace and the ground of the plaza suddenly shot out a dreamy light. Countless rays of light swept past Luo Feng and rapidly condensed around the palace, forming mysterious engravings. After that, they completely condensed and transformed into a white light layer. This white light completely covered the entire palace. What? Luo Feng was shocked as he turned to look. Pung! Pung! He could vaguely see a few phantasmal beasts pouncing at the light from the outside, slamming into it and falling back down. Of the 32 palaces before, only 23 of them were covered in light. Why is it that suddenly, even this palace is covered in a light layer? Ice Bear Luo Feng looked about. The other phantasmal beasts in the plaza were still leisurely strolling, sleeping or playing. They didn't seem to notice the sudden appearance of the light layer. Ice Bear Luo Feng carefully walked towards the light layer. He walked to the side of the plaza and extended his claws to grab it. Chi! The claws pierced right through the light layer without any resistance. Luo Feng relaxed. It protects from the outside but not from the inside. If I want to leave, there's no obstruction at all. Luo Feng retracted his claws and turned to look at the palace. The plaza was 10 kilometers wide, and the palace only took up a quarter of the area. Howl, an 8-winged half-translucent bird-type beast, was leisurely flying towards the entrance of the palace. This bird-type beast was comparable to a domain lord level 8. Its entire body was formed from ice, and under the golden light, it was extremely beautiful. When it reached the entrance of the palace, a black silhouette flashed. Dong! Ferociously smashed into the body of the bird-type phantasmagoric beast, which was over 100 meters long, exploded and collapsed. Countless ice shards flew in all directions. Some of the ice shards even passed through the light shield and flew out. Luo Feng was shocked, holding his breath as he looked over. At the entrance of the palace, a completely black rock-like gorilla-like beast stood there. It wielded a similarly black long rod. On it were some mysterious golden engravings. The rock gorilla wielded the rod and looked outside at the plaza. Its gaze swept past the group of phantasmal beasts before retreating back into the palace. Rock life form. Luo Feng was shocked. There were many life forms in the universe. Metal life forms, plant life forms, flesh and blood life forms, energy life forms. What were life forms? Only those with intelligence could be considered life forms. And those phantasmal beasts, they were existences created by the special illusions of Demon Mountain. They couldn't even be considered life forms. Because they didn't even have the ability to think. There's a rock life form within the palace. However, from the information provided by the Virtual Universe Company, it only said that there were phantasmal beasts within Demon Mountain. However, this rock gorilla, that gaze earlier, was definitely proof that it had intelligence? Luo Feng was shocked. Whether it had intelligence or not, it was easy to tell from its gaze. Luo Feng stood in the plaza and observed, not daring to enter the palace. Within 3 days, Luo Feng had seen 18 phantasmal beasts enter the palace. However, the moment they reached the entrance, they were all smashed apart by the rock gorilla's rod. I have a feeling that there's a huge secret within this palace. Luo Feng thought. Golden light. The mysterious golden engravings that he couldn't even understand. Guarding the entrance of the palace, the rock gorilla with unfathomable strength. And this palace was floating in mid-air where countless phantasmal beasts gathered. All of this indicated that there was a huge secret within this palace. As long as one wasn't an idiot, they would be able to guess it. However, how do I enter? Luo Feng looked at the entrance. The moment I enter, what if I get smashed to death? Rumble. The entire abyss world shook violently, a terrifying shockwave rippled in all directions, crashing into the white light of the palace Luo Feng was in. What's going on? Luo Feng turned to look outside. Howl, howl, tens of thousands of phantasmal beasts roared. Violent explosions resounded throughout the palace. Haha, you low-level beings dare to mess with me? Almost like a god's voice resounded throughout the land and skies. Senior, even though these undying phantasmal beasts aren't much of a threat, it's troublesome to deal with them. Let's hurry and enter the palace. Another loud voice resounded from the other direction of the explosion. Sure. Why is it that of the 32 palaces, only 8 are empty while the others are all accepting? That's weird. The Hong Alliance's news is that 9 are empty. Let's not bother, it's just the 2 of us anyway. Whether it's 8 or 9, we're enough. 2 voices resounded from 2 different directions. With the rumbling of the land and skies, countless phantasmal beasts roared and howled. The 2 majestic silhouettes rushed into the 2 palaces that weren't covered by the white light. Ice Bear Luo Feng stayed in the plaza. The roaring and howling outside gradually weakened and quickly disappeared. Everything returned to its original calm. However, Luo Feng's heart wasn't calm at all. Someone actually came. Luo Feng's mind was filled with thoughts. Inheritance Palace? 9? The 2 voices from before should be from 2 absolute warriors. At least undying. Hong Alliance? What kind of organization is the Hong Alliance? Luo Feng was shocked. The Hong Alliance's news is that 9 are empty? When I came earlier, I did indeed discover that only 9 of the 32 palaces didn't have a white light. Don't tell me, the moment someone enters, the palace will immediately raise that white light? Indeed. It was only when he flew into the square of the palace that the white light barrier rose up. Don't tell me the palace is able to discover the difference between me and normal beasts? Luo Feng looked shocked at the palace before him. Even if it was an undying or even more powerful being. If one didn't scan Luo Feng's body, they wouldn't be able to discover the changes in the Masha clansmen. However, this peculiar palace was able to discover the difference in Luo Feng and raise the light. Luo Feng stood calmly in the plaza. It was obvious. He had come to the mysterious core of Demon Mountain, the Inheritance Palace. And Demon Mountain's Inheritance Palace, accurately speaking, Demon Note Mountain had a total of 32 palaces. At this time, including himself, there should be people in 26 palaces. Looks like this Inheritance Palace isn't a secret to the pinnacle upper echelons of the universe. They're actually able to send undyings here to receive the inheritance. Luo Feng thought. However, to receive the inheritance, not just anyone has the right to do so. After all, even my teacher Hu Yenbo hasn't heard of its existence. Indeed, such a mysterious place in the universe, to enter even once, an undying had to pay a much higher price than entering Primal Chaos City. I sure am lucky to have come to this Inheritance Palace. Luo Feng looked at the palace before him. How do I enter? Luo Feng pondered and swiftly made a decision. Who? A human Luo Feng suddenly appeared beside the ice bear. My Masha clansman will be outside with the core, my earth body will go in. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed, in a flash he rushed towards the entrance of the palace. Howl, the other beasts in the plaza immediately roared when they saw the human Luo Feng. P.S. 2 chapters completed, I've just resumed updating, I can't rush it. However, from the 13th to the 19th, the Star Transformation game team will pay for the updates, hence it's free. Those 7 days, Tomato will explode. Chapter 584. The beast's intellect was extremely low. Demon Mountain's special environment was what created this batch of beasts. Their existence was to kill intruders. Hence, when the group of beasts in the plaza saw a human suddenly appear, they all went berserk. Howl, ong, the beasts became blurs and fiercely pounced at Luo Feng, wanting to tear him to pieces. And the earth body Luo Feng, who stood beside the ice bear, the moment he appeared, he had already rushed towards the entrance of the palace. Infused with the Domain Lord Level 9 Cloud Contact Vine's strength, with a rumble, the plaza's stone ground shook. Immediately Luo Feng became like a shooting star rushing towards the entrance of the palace. So, Luo Feng rushed through the entrance. Behind him was a large group of beasts roaring and charging over. Rumble! A black long rod suddenly appeared, 1 rod for 1. At the entrance of the palace, the tall and sturdy stone gorilla wielded a thick black long rod, almost like a baseball player, waving it around like a tornado. Pung! 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 One by one, the illusionary beasts condensed from ice blocks with powerful auras were directly blown apart. A large number of ice fragments were smashed far away, directly flying out of the white barrier. Howl, ao! The beasts all stared ferociously at Luo Feng, madly rushing in one after another. However, the stone gorilla stood at the entrance, giving off an aura of one man holding the pass against 10,000, smashing away as many came. These beasts are really one-track mind. Standing within the palace, looking at the large amounts of beasts rushing in, Luo Feng exclaimed, "Seeing me, they all go crazy and try to kill me. Even though they know there's no hope, they still come to kill me. Luckily the barrier protects the palace, preventing the trillions of beasts from entering." In just a short while, the plaza was only left with a few broken pieces of ice and the only living beast, the ice bear. All of the other magical beasts were killed by the rock gorilla monster because they wanted to rush into the main hall. The palace was majestic and tall, almost like a mountain. Luo Feng seemed incomparably small within. "This is the Legacy Palace. Where can I receive the legacy?" Luo Feng was dressed in a silver armor on the outside and the cloud contact armor on the inside. His boots carefully stepped within the palace, carefully inspecting it. The palace was filled with black mist. In the distance, some of the black rocks would occasionally solidify and melt. The rock gorilla monster glanced at Luo Feng, hugged its black long rod, and shrunk into a corner without moving. How strange! Luo Feng looked at the black mist within the palace. "Babata, have you discovered the mystery of this palace?" "I can't detect it. The detection signal is completely blocked," Babata said. "What?" Luo Feng was shocked. The detector that Babata carried was very expensive, and its detection range was very small, only 20 kilometers. It was a device that Hu Yenbo would only use in dangerous places like the universe secret realms. In many universe secret realms this device could be used. But this inheritance palace actually blocked detection? Rumble, an earth-shaking sound could be heard. Within the palace, the black mist-shrouded region resounded with sounds, following which strange and beautiful sounds resounded. Ong, howl, all sorts of sounds fused together, forming a very strange and mysterious sound, causing Luo Feng to feel extremely comfortable. This is the sound. Luo Feng thought when he saw the 32 palaces earlier, he heard this sound. The sound resounded. The palace changed greatly. Before Luo Feng, a broken black rock suddenly floated with peculiar words. The strokes of the words were like engravings. These words, Luo Feng didn't recognize them at all. This. Luo Feng was shocked within as he looked at the mysterious words on the black rock. "I've never seen these words before, but I can actually clearly understand what they mean. It's unbelievable." The words constantly floated and disappeared. After a long while, Luo Feng finally understood the meaning of the word. Demon Note General? Inheritance. 157672. Luo Feng's eyes were filled with shock. The mysterious words that floated on the black rock, when combined together, the main idea was, ever since the Demon Note Forbidden Area was created, you are the 157672 to enter the Inheritance Palace. the life form with the right to receive the demon note inheritance. Any life form with a soul can receive the inheritance. However, ever since the Forbidden Area was created, there hasn't been a life form that has been able to receive the complete inheritance, obtaining the title of Demon Note General. Demon Note General, whether it's a flesh and blood life form, energy life form, metal life form, etc., as long as it has a soul, it can become a noble Demon Note General. Demon Note General, one of a kind. Ever since the universe was created, it was destined that there could only be one Demon Note General. At some point, when a life form is able to receive the complete inheritance, becoming a Demon Note General, this Demon Note Forbidden Area will immediately crumble. A tiny life form, work hard. Work hard to become a noble Demon Note General, follow the inheritance stairs, step by step on the path to becoming an absolute being of the universe. Within the palace, the black mist rumbled, and that magical sound echoed in the hall. At the same time, great changes were happening in the hall. At the end of the black mist, a 3-mile-wide black stone staircase appeared. Every stair had strange golden patterns on it, and it glowed with a faint golden light. The human Luo Feng stood before the mysterious staircase, silent for a while. Demon Note General? Any life form, as long as it has a soul, it has the right to become a Demon Note General. Luo Feng looked at the black mist before him parting, automatically revealing the mysterious staircase. His heart filled with shock. The universe was very mysterious. This, Luo Feng knew long ago. The human race, a total of 1,008 universe countries, every universe country was incomparably vast. Those universe country leaders were all invincible eternal beings. Even the human race had absolute beings that could create the virtual universe. However, the human race was just one of the trillions of races in the universe. However, it was one of the pinnacle races. There were many pinnacle races. There were also some races that may not be considered pinnacle races, but their individual strengths were very strong, like the Masha clan, in terms of clan strength. They were probably ranked towards the end of the 10,000. Like the Golden Horned Beast, in terms of clan strength, who knew how far behind they were. Just because their numbers were low, that didn't mean they were weak. Trillions of races. Endless universe. Countless secret regions. Demon Note General Inheritance? Who left it behind? Luo Feng looked around, looking at the stone where the words once appeared. All these marks are too obvious. Obviously a great being intentionally left behind this inheritance. According to what I know, long before the Virtual Universe Company took control of the Absolute Beginning region, Demon Mountain was already here. Demon Mountain's history was incredibly long, just like Blood River World, it was very long. The universe's secret regions were very mysterious. Some were naturally formed special environments, however some were actually palaces left behind by absolute beings, training grounds, etc. These absolute beings may have even taken over a region of the Absolute Beginning region earlier than the Virtual Universe Company. However, against the huge power of the Virtual Universe Company, they chose to retreat. Anyone who dared resist would be crushed by the huge being the Virtual Universe Company. However, there were some great beings in the universe. Even though they retreated before the Virtual Universe Company, that didn't mean they were weak. Before, I heard the conversation between the two Undyings and the Virtual Universe Company arranging for large numbers of Undyings to be stationed here. Many thoughts flashed through Luo Feng's mind. Even Babata doesn't know the secrets of Demon Mountain. Obviously, this is one of the more advanced secrets of the universe, even more mysterious than Primal Chaos City. Demon Note General? This inheritance forbidden land. The moment a life form obtains the complete inheritance, it will immediately crumble? Demon Note General, there's only one in the universe? Luo Feng nodded. He could tell that the one and only Demon Note General in the universe was indeed an absolute warrior of the universe. There's actually over 100,000 life forms that have come to receive the inheritance, yet not a single one has obtained the complete inheritance. Luo Feng shook his head and didn't think anymore. So, with a step, he rushed up the stairs of the mysterious pathway. When Luo Feng's battle boots landed on this level of stairs, the surrounding scenery instantly became hazy. Luo Feng couldn't see anything else, only this continuously extending staircase. Simultaneously, a mysterious message surged into Luo Feng's mind. Accept the inheritance. Training the inheritance. Every level of the stairs contains a level of information. When you reach the end of the stairs, you will become a great being of the universe. Demon Note General. A rumbling voice resounded within Luo Feng's consciousness. Simultaneously, the mysterious training technique began to gush in. Luo Feng was almost immediately convinced by this technique. This was a soul-related technique. One had to have a soul to train it. In terms of the profoundness of it, it was countless times more profound than the soul imprint that his teacher Hu Yenbo left him back then. He could clearly feel that it was on a completely different level. I feel that this nameless inheritance secret technique should be comparable to the 9-Universe Primal Chaos Tablet. The 9-Universe Primal Chaos Tablet guides people to comprehend laws, while this is a set of detailed secret technique. Just this technique alone is priceless. Luo Feng was excited. His standards were very high. In his mind he had the golden horned beast's inheritance memories. He had also seen the virtual universe company's treasure trove. He had seen countless techniques. And because his standards were high, he could instantly judge this mysterious inheritance technique was definitely one of the most noble inheritances, one that pointed directly to the universe laws. In an instant, Luo Feng was completely immersed in the training of this technique. It wasn't just his earth body, the golden horned beast within the internal world too began to train. Only the Masha clansman was dumbfounded and helpless, because this was a special technique that belonged to the soul, and the Masha clansman had no way of training it. Just who left this mysterious technique, such a terrifying technique, if one were to train it to completion, becoming a powerful being in the universe would probably not be a lie. Luo Feng didn't think anymore, suppressing the excitement within. He was completely immersed in his training. Begging for monthly votes and recommendation vote. Right now the rankings are lagging behind. Red Alliance brothers and sisters, those with monthly votes throw them, those with recommendation votes throw them. Everyone support Tomato. Tomato continued to write the second chapter. Chapter 585. In the virtual universe, within a specially formed space. Owu, many green dragons flew in the sky. Ong. Beautiful 7-colored feathered birds could be seen everywhere. In this huge space, with a glance, there were millions of strange beasts, some beautiful, some ferocious. Millions of beasts circled. A group of majestic, blood-red palaces floated in midair, and in one of the palaces, Pa! A tall and sturdy man with a silver horn fiercely smashed the wine glass in his hand. The translucent glass smashed fiercely on the ground, directly shattering. The silver-horned man's expression was ferocious, his eyes like 2 stars burning. He roared in rage. What, you think I'm easy to bully? Demon Note Mountain inheritance is a chance I've worked so hard for my disciple Mist Emperor. You think it's gone just because you say it's gone? Night. A white-haired old man standing in the palace bowed. It's not that it's gone, but we need to wait for the next batch. Next batch? Next batch? Bullshit next batch? The silver-horned man roared in rage. Every batch of Demon Note Mountain inheritance has a gap of 10,081 eras. Every batch has a maximum of 32 people. I've spent so many treasures, invested so much. Only after the final vote did I get this one spot. Yet you're telling me that out of the 32 palaces, one has been taken by an unknown being. There's one less spot. What does one less spot have to do with me? On what basis did you erase my disciple's chance? Why didn't you erase the chance of others? The silver-horned man was incomparably furious. Knight. The white-haired old man bowed. That time during the vote, Mist Emperor was ranked last out of the 32, hence the higher-ups decided, scram, scram. The silver-horned man fiercely waved his hand. The white-haired old man bowed, not daring to speak any more, immediately turning to leave. The silver-horned man's expression was ferocious. To think that he was a knight, one of the great eternal beings of the human race, there really wasn't much that could make him lose out, but this time, those old fellows in the Hong Alliance, after taking my benefits, now they're all so righteous, one less spot, they actually erased my disciple's chance. The silver-horned man was filled with hatred, but he knew very well that since the higher-ups had made a decision, it was useless no matter how angry he was. Who is it? Just who was it that took my disciple's spot? The silver-horned man was filled with hatred. Demonic Note Mountain Inheritance. It was 1,000,000 times more precious than the chance to comprehend the 9-universe Chaos Tablet. This was because the Chaos Tablet only guided one to comprehend the laws. On the other hand, the Demonic Note Mountain Inheritance was an incomparably detailed cultivation method. As long as one cultivated it step by step, one's strength would increase by leaps and bounds. Wait for the next batch? After 10,081 eras? The more the silver-horned man thought about it, the angrier he became. His disciple, Mist Emperor, was an emperor rank undying. It was extremely difficult to become a venerable. However, to a certain extent, the Demon Note Mountain's inheritance would greatly increase one's chances of becoming a venerable. Now, he didn't know who had seized the opportunity to make his disciple wait for another 100,000,000 years. Luo Feng naturally didn't know about the matters of the upper echelons of the universe. He only knew how to seize opportunities and immerse himself in cultivation. Within the great hall of the Inheritance Palace, on the stairs, Luo Feng had already stood on the first step for a day. He closed his eyes and stood silently on the black stone stairs. Within his mind, his spirit energy was constantly training this technique. This nameless technique was temporarily called the Supreme Demon Note Manual. This Supreme Demon Note Manual, according to the information Luo Feng received on the first step, it was split into 2 parts. One was the foundation. 2 was the Demon Note Manual. The foundation took up 99% of the Supreme Demon Note Manual's content. The moment one's foundation was solid, the final part of the Demon Note Manual could be easily trained. The foundation here was referring to the strength of the telekinesis amplitude. For example, when Luo Feng controlled a throwing knife, its strongest attack power would reach a certain value. And Luo Feng's limit was simultaneously controlling 78 throwing knives. If the throwing knives could reach their maximum power, then the spirit energy amplitude would be 78. Back when Luo Feng was on Earth, his strength was still very weak. He could simultaneously control over 10 throwing knives to their maximum power. His soul had the spirit energy amplitude. His body had the strength amplitude. The undying altar was used to test one's strength amplitude. Normally, once one's strength amplitude reached 100, one would be able to perfectly control every bit of the body's strength. A strength amplitude of 100, that was the limit under normal circumstances. Same logic. The strength of his telekinesis amplification allowed him to control 100 flying daggers at the same time. Each flying dagger had reached its maximum attack power when it was controlled individually. This was also a limit under normal circumstances. However, that was only the limit under normal circumstances. Like the golden horned beast, when it unleashed its body attacks, its normal strength amplitude was only 80 to 90. However, the moment it unleashed its natural ability, strengthen, it would immediately double, causing its attack power to reach over 100. If it unleashed the deities of the world, its body strength would increase by many times, reaching a few hundred. And the golden horned beast's right claw, the moment it activated the blood river energy, its strength would explode. Its body strength would increase once more. In theory, the limit was 100. However, that was the normal limit. Some special techniques, special treasures would allow one to exceed the normal limit. And these techniques and treasures were all extremely valuable treasures in the universe. The natural ability strengthen was to strengthen the body, soul, etc. The golden horned beast's current soul amplitude was 78. However, the moment it unleashed its natural ability, its attack power would immediately double, and the Supreme Demon Note Manual was a technique similar to the deities of the world in the golden horned beast's memories. However, it was even more ridiculous than deities of the world. Training deities of the world to completion only increased one's attack power by 27 times. However, the secret manual of Supreme Demonic Sound was much stronger. This was an inheritance that truly led to the extreme. It's really mysterious. It's even stronger than deities of the world, such a powerful inheritance. Luo Feng opened his eyes and looked ahead at the stairs that grew taller and taller. With a glance, the stairs led to the endless space. Luo Feng took a deep breath and with a leap, he flew to the second step. When Luo Feng's feet landed on the second step, the incomparably detailed and exquisite technique once again flowed into his mind. Continue training. Day after day. One flight of stairs after another. In this inheritance staircase that led to the endless space, Luo Feng continued to advance. Actually, when he had just received the inheritance, Luo Feng had already received the message. The moment the inheritance began, it couldn't be stopped. He had to constantly train and advance. The process of training was actually a form of torture to his willpower and consciousness. The moment he couldn't handle the torture and stop training, then, the inheritance would automatically end. In the vast universe, over 1 trillion years, there had been over 100,000 life forms that had come to receive the inheritance. However, not a single life form had been able to reach the end of the inheritance stairs. I wonder how long this inheritance will take. This opportunity isn't easy to come by, I can't miss it. Luo Feng was like a beggar crazily eating steamed buns as he madly and obsessively trained. The more he trained, the more he felt his consciousness amplitude increase. Very quickly, it surpassed 100. Under normal circumstances, this number was still increasing. It was too powerful. The more he trained, the more he understood that if he were to exchange for this technique in the Virtual Universe Company's treasury, it would definitely be worth astronomical points. Maybe even the treasury of the Virtual Universe Company wouldn't have such a powerful technique. I only have one chance to train. I'll train as much as I can. Who knows, I might even be able to make it to completion. No matter what, if I don't give it my all, how can I live? When Luo Feng was in the core area of Demon Note Mountain, receiving the Demon Note inheritance, the 1,000 Star Sect warriors that Puyu sent to kill him back then had a headache. 6 months later. Virtual Universe, there was an island specially for the 9-star ocean warriors to live in. On the 9-star ocean island, there was a palace that occupied an extremely vast area. This was the headquarters of the famous 1,000 Star Sect within the Virtual Universe Company. Within one of the palaces, God, 2 sector lords and 2 domain lords bowed respectfully. A breathtakingly beautiful woman with jade-colored long hair sat on the throne in the main hall. She lazily leaned against the back of the chair and glanced below. The 4 of you still haven't found the target? Yes, God. The 4 of them were nervous. The 4 of them were the 6 warriors from the 1,000 Star Sect that were sent this time. As for the other 2, they had already died within Demon Note Mountain. A bunch of trash. The absolute beauty snorted coldly. I'll give you another half a year. I hope you don't disappoint me. Yes. The 4 were drenched in cold sweat. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, the 4 of them had been in Demon Note Mountain for a year. In this year, another domain lord had died. That was because of the demon note. Unknowingly, he had become a zombie. In the end, the 3 survivors all escaped from the demonic note mountain. Congratulations, you've survived for a year in Demon Note Mountain. You have all the rights to join the Virtual Universe Company. The Virtual Universe Company troops stationed outside Demon Note Mountain, the lowest level silver-clothed attendants, swiftly went to welcome the 3 survivors. Bayan and the other 2 1,000-star sect warriors glanced at each other helplessly. They came to Demon Note Mountain because of Puyu's request. In truth, they didn't even want to join the Virtual Universe Company and be servants. Bring the 3 of them to me. A voice rang in the ears of the group of silver-clothed executors. Yes, Puyu. The silver-clothed deacons immediately brought Bayan and the other 2 to Marquis Puyu's divine hall. Deep within the shrine, within a certain hall, Marquis Puyu was lying on the throne, her dark green snake tail coiled beside the throne. Her eyes were looking down at the trembling Bayan and the other 2. God. The 3 knelt down. Puyu waved her hand and immediately forcefully took the storage ring from the Domain Lord's finger, directly breaking his spirit imprint and taking out the E9 grade laser gun. God, the target is only a universe level 9, and we haven't discovered him in a year. He hasn't left Demon Note Mountain either. It's very likely he was killed by someone else in Demon Note Mountain. Or maybe he was bewitched by the Demon Note and became a zombie. The strongest sector Lord level 9 Bayan said. Let's hope so. Puyu nodded, following which she gazed at the 3 below. The 3's eyes immediately froze. Following which, putong, they slumped to the ground, dead. However, you know too much, you have to die. Puyu said coldly. Sending people to kill a genius the Virtual Universe Company valued, the moment they found out, an official level undying, even if she didn't die, she would be locked up in the space prison. It's been a year. That punk, he's most likely dead. Puyu muttered softly, following which she smiled charmingly, as though the surroundings had become colorful. Update complete. Asking for votes. There really weren't that many votes. Monthly votes, recommendation votes, as long as he gave them, Tomato would be happy. Chapter 586. Marquis Puyu lazily curled up on the throne. Her jade-like fingers gently tapped on the armrest. Her gaze swept across the 3 corpses. The space in the hall slightly trembled. A faint spatial ripple that contained immortal laws swept across the 3 corpses. The 3 corpses instantly turned into dust with 3 sizzling sounds. That punk, he's probably dead however, he's just interest. Puyu muttered softly. Suddenly hurried footsteps resounded from outside. Master! Master! Hurried shouts resounded from outside the palace. Come in. Puyu frowned slightly and said. Immediately, a handsome youth dressed in purple with silver armor rushed in. This handsome youth's eyes were sunken in, his pupils were jade green, and on his forehead were some engravings. This handsome youth's face was filled with rage. After rushing in, he knelt down and shouted, Master, please save my home. Emocha planet. What's wrong? Puyu frowned slightly. Your home planet Emocha is a powerful planet with many undyings. Why do you need me to save you? Master, it's a few people from my home who unintentionally offended Mist Emperor's power. Who would have thought that the high and mighty Mist Emperor would personally make a move, using a powerful space technique, forcefully sucking my home planet Emocha, the entire planet, into his god country. The handsome youth was about to cry. The planet was sucked into the god country? Puyu was shocked. God country. This was the life of an undying. Sector lords had internal worlds, undyings had god countries. The moment the internal world crumbled, the sector lord would die without a doubt. The moment the god country crumbled, the weaker undyings would immediately die. And some undyings with secret techniques and treasures might be able to survive, but their strength would drop to an extremely low level. And their future would be basically gone. It could be said, the god country was half of an undying's life. The God Country had many uses. The reason why undyings were so strong was because of the God Country. In the God Country, the undying strength would rise, however, sucking the enemy into the God Country, even though their own strength would rise. But it would also give the enemy a chance to attack the God Country. Hence, unless they had 100% confidence, or were forced to the point where they had no other choice, very rarely would they suck the enemy into the God Country. Taking an entire planet into the Divine Kingdom? Your home planet has been absorbed into Mist Monarch's Divine Country. The outcome will definitely be very tragic. Marquis Puyu sat on her throne, looking down at her disciples. If it's just destruction, he can destroy your home planet with a single punch. But he went to great lengths to capture your home planet and bring it into his divine kingdom. He won't stop until he tortures it. How did your people from your home planet offend him? Marquis Puyu frowned. Just a small matter. The handsome young man knelt down in front of the hall, shouting in grievance. In the past, there were often conflicts. Such small matters were usually handled by Mist Monarch's subordinates. But I didn't expect that this time, Mist Monarch actually personally took action, directly absorbing my home planet into his divine country. Master, please save my homeworld, shouted the handsome youth immediately. I have no choice. Marquis Puyu shook her head. Master! The handsome youth's eyes were filled with tears. Marquis Puyu looked down at the kneeling disciples and said softly, Let me try. Closing her eyes, a thread of her consciousness connected to the virtual universe network, she went to find a good friend to talk to Mist Emperor in just a short while. You can leave. Marquis Puyu opened her eyes and said, Master. The handsome youth looked up, looking at Marquis Puyu in the throne, his face filled with anticipation. Who asked your home planet to offend Mist Monarch? It's coincidentally his most furious moment. Marquis Puyu frowned and roared, Nobody can save your home planet. The handsome youth gripped his fist. Leave. Marquis Puyu ordered coldly. Yes. The handsome youth didn't dare say much, afraid of angering this cold master of his, leaving respectfully. Only Marquis Puyu was left on the throne. Marquis Puyu frowned and muttered to herself, No wonder Mist Monarch was so angry. His powerful teacher gave him a spot to enter Demon Note Mountain, but it was taken by someone else. TSK, this wait will have to wait until 10,081 eras before there will be a new chance. If it was me, I'd be furious too. I just don't know who exactly took the slot. A majestic God country. The endless ocean rippled. Within the seawater were scattered pieces of ice. Above the endless ocean floated a group of dark green majestic palaces. At the center of these palaces was a dark green divine statue that was millions of kilometers tall, Mist King's statue. Hundreds of millions of kilometers away from the palace complex, there was a planet with a diameter of more than 30,000 kilometers hovering in the air. Silhouettes flew out from this planet, kneeling in mid-air, kowtowing and begging. Mist Emperor, spare me! Mist Emperor, spare my Emocha planet! Mist Emperor, we are guilty! We are guilty! A few undying and sector lords knelt in mid-air, their voices rumbling out. At this time, within their home, Emocha planet, there were flashes of lightning, flames, snowflakes, icicles shooting down from the skies. It was a nightmare scene. Mist Emperor. He had long, dark green hair, a squarish face, and a pair of eyes that were even crazier than a star beast. He wore an exquisite battle robe and stood in mid-air, coldly watching Emocha planet go through all kinds of torture. Spare me? Guilty? Mist Emperor sneered. Too late. Too late. Too late. Too late. Too late. His voice reverberated in the ears of the kneeling Emocha warriors. Those undying and sector lords were all in pain, regret, hatred. But they had no choice. Mist Emperor, as an emperor-level undying, was too strong. Mist Emperor's god country contained even more shocking might. Just the pressure of the god country caused the undying to be unable to resist. 10,081 eras, over 100 million years. From birth till now, such a long time has passed, it's only been 12,000 eras. To make me wait so long! Mist Emperor got angrier the more he thought, his fists clenched even tighter, causing the surrounding space to tremble, faintly forming cracks. Just which bastard took my slot? Just who is it? Mist Monarch roared in rage. As for that floating planet, its fate was even more tragic. In the vast universe, humanity's virtual universe company controlled one of the 4 core regions, the absolute beginning region, Demon Mountain. Demon Note, one of the 32 inheritance palaces. Luo Feng was focused on receiving the inheritance. How would he know that he had taken Mist Emperor's slot? Even for an Emperor-level undying. 10081 eras was still a very long time. From birth till now, Mist Emperor had only lived for 12,000 eras. That was equivalent to living to 30 and preparing to get married. However, the heavens ordered, don't rush, wait another 30 years. Wait until you're 60 before getting married. Who wouldn't be anxious? Who wouldn't be angry? Within the inheritance palace, black mist pervaded the area. The inheritance stairs extended layer by layer into space. In theory, a 10 kilometers long and wide inheritance palace shouldn't be too shocking. However, Luo Feng's naked eye could see, it probably exceeded 1,000 kilometers. This effect of having a world within a grain of sand, Luo Feng was rather calm. After all, if a sector lord could do it, the absolute being that left behind the inheritance palace could do it as well. That wasn't strange. I've completed another portion. Luo Feng opened his eyes, his face filled with excitement, becoming a beam of light and flying towards the next level. But as his boots landed on the next level, the inheritance stairs, the even more profound training techniques immediately flowed into Luo Feng's memories. Simultaneously there was a slight sound in space beside the stairs. HM? Luo Feng turned to look. Mysterious words appeared in space. It was the same style as the words on the stone tablet before, a large paragraph of words. Even though Luo Feng didn't know what it was, he immediately understood the meaning. Beginner? Luo Feng was shocked. The meaning of the words in space was, life form that has come to receive the inheritance. You've already received 1/10 of the Demon Note Inheritance's first part. The Demon Note Inheritance has a total of 3 parts. To be able to complete the first part, you'll receive the beginner title, and the beginner level reward. The end of the first part is that distant palace. The beginner's reward is there. Work hard. Rumble, the inheritance stairs Luo Feng was standing on had already extended very, very long, and it was still extending into space, extending level after level. Finally, after extending very, very far, at the end of the stairs, in the distant space, there was a shrine that was hard to see with the naked eye. The end of the first part? The beginner's reward? Luo Feng looked at the distant palace in space, thinking, I've already been receiving the inheritance for about a year. I've probably received about 300 levels of the inheritance. It's actually only 1/10 of the first part. Then the first part, doesn't it have over 3,000 levels? The first part had over 3,000 levels. A total of 3 parts. If the next 2 parts had the same amount, it would be about 10,000 levels. Completing all the stairs and receiving the entire inheritance, how long would that take? Luo Feng couldn't help but be shocked within. That was what he said. However, in reality, Demon Mountain had existed for 1 trillion years, and the tens of thousands of life forms that had received the inheritance, none of them had ever received the entire inheritance. There's no point in thinking so much. I'll first completely receive the first part of the inheritance and become the beginner, then I'll be able to receive the rewards within the palace. Luo Feng anticipated within. This inheritance palace's design is pretty awesome. I think the rewards won't be too bad either. I wonder what it is, treasures? Weapons? Armor? Luo Feng thought for a while. He didn't think anymore, continuing to fully immerse himself in training the techniques on the stairs. In just a year's time, after receiving this part of the inheritance, Luo Feng felt his strength rise by many times. This inheritance was indeed a very heaven-defying technique. If Luo Feng were to give a price for it, it would truly be a priceless treasure, even more awesome than the entire time-space notes. I really have to thank Mo Luo for that kick. Luo Feng exclaimed within. Chapter 587. Back when he first arrived at the Inheritance Palace, Luo Feng's Masha clansmen had already entered the internal world, and the core was within his earth body. Within Luo Feng's body, within the core, a soul that had already been condensed into a crystal ball. At this time there was mist floating around it. It was Luo Feng's spirit energy. Countless amounts of spirit energy were forming engravings. Large amounts of engravings entered the crystal ball. Almost like a virus spreading, the entire soul crystal absorbed the engravings and slowly began to change. Even though the changes were minute, it couldn't withstand the constant evolution. It didn't stop for even a moment. Luo Feng's earth body and the golden horned beast were both controlling their spirit energy to train their souls. Over 100 tempering into steel. A piece of metal was forged into steel over and over again. At this time, Luo Feng's soul was going through a similar process. In the process of training the Supreme Demon Note, his soul was constantly changing and evolving, just like scrap metal becoming steel. Luo Feng's soul was also changing like this. It was a little similar to deities of the world. Deities of the world was a transformation of the body. After unleashing deities of the world, the body could shrink, causing the density of the muscles, bones, scales, etc. to rapidly increase. The ultimate demonic sound secret technique, which accounted for 99% of the basic chapters, was a transformation of the soul. Unleashing this technique, one's soul could raise one's soul control greatly. A normal sector lord's soul, under the precondition that the weapons were at their strongest, could at most control 100 weapons. A normal sector lord's body could at most unleash 100 weapons. When Luo Feng stepped onto the 100th level, his spirit energy amplifier had already reached 100. This was the traditional definition of a sector lord's limit. And now Luo Feng had already stepped into the 360th level. His spirit energy amplifier had already reached over 360. What was the concept? When he first arrived at the Inheritance Palace, his spirit energy amplifier was 70 to 80, now it was over 360. It had increased by 5 times. Just like when Luo Feng first had 1 gun to shoot, now he had 5 guns to shoot. His spirit energy output was 5 times faster than before. That's like 5 against 1. Luo Feng looked at the inheritance stairs extending downwards, looking at the distant palace in space. He couldn't help but get excited. Virtual Universe, Yuxiang Mountains Public Region, top floor of a quiet restaurant. Tru Yen, who was wearing golden armor, leaned against the sofa. His eyelids were drooping, and his whole body was faintly emitting a suppressed rage. The entire room on the top floor was filled with this aura. Even the waiters of the restaurant were so scared that they stood aside, not daring to breathe. They swallowed and held their breath. Jia Tru Yen King. A slightly sharp and strange cold laughter directly entered the room on the top floor. 2 people walked up the stairs. One of them was as thin as a skeleton. His eyes were like 2 balls of fire, and he had a goatee on his chin. His entire body was covered in a large golden robe, and he was also holding 2 golden balls in his hands, which he kept spinning. Behind him was a handsome young man, Mo Luo. Mo Luo was quite old, but because of his race's bloodline, he wasn't tall and looked like a teenager. He's here. Tru Yen glanced at him. Ha ha ha, Tru Yen King, you're looking for my disciple because you need my help. In front of me, don't be so ugly. The gold-robed skinny old man laughed and laid on the sofa, simultaneously ordering, "Waiters, get out!" Yes. The waiters immediately left obediently. The entire room was only left with three: Tru Yen, Mo Luo, and his teacher Mo Luo. If it wasn't for my disciple Luo Feng, I wouldn't even bother to see you. Just looking at you makes me sick. Tru Yen laughed coldly. Ha ha, you really make me feel honored. The gold-robed skinny old man laughed weirdly. This gold-robed skinny old man was someone with a high position in the Virtual Universe Company. He too had passed the 20th level of the Heavenly Bridge, and was extremely close to the night level. His title was Prison Frog Emperor. This Prison Frog Emperor and Tru Yen had always been enemies. Both of their talents were heaven-defying, of which Tru Yen was known for his straightforward and ferocious temper. Prison Frog Emperor was known for his ruthlessness and viciousness. As their personalities completely clashed, Tru Yen did things openly and righteously, while Prison Frog Emperor was incomparably sinister. Hence, the two had always hated each other. Prison Frog Emperor treated Tru Yen as his life's rival. However, Tru Yen always looked down on Prison Frog Emperor. Even though he looked down on him in terms of strength, the two were very close. These two. They were extremely close to the night level. Amongst the Emperor-level Undyings, they belonged to the pinnacle. The two each had their own strengths. Of course, Tru Yan's strength could suppress his opponent, but it was very hard to kill him. Tru Yen glanced at Mo Luo, who was standing behind Prison Frog Emperor. You said your disciple Mo Luo went to Demon Mountain too. He even met my disciple Luo Feng. Tell me, when did you meet him? What's the situation? Anxious. The gold-robed skinny old man looked at Tru Yen. Humph, Tru Yen snorted coldly. He was indeed anxious, because the Virtual Universe Company had informed him before that Luo Feng had been in Demon Note Mountain for over a year. However, there hadn't been any news from him, and Demon Note Mountain was an impossible level environment. The moment one encountered a terrifying demon note, one would unknowingly become a zombie. Under normal circumstances, these geniuses would occasionally enter the Virtual Universe Network. However, this year, Luo Feng hadn't entered the Virtual Universe Network at all. This made the Virtual Universe Company suspicious. Was he dead? Naturally, they informed Luo Feng's closest teacher, Tru Yen. Tru Yen knew that Luo Feng had gone to Demon Mountain. The moment he received the Virtual Universe Company's notice, he immediately sent emails and requested for a call etc. to contact Luo Feng. However, there was no reply at all. It was almost as though Luo Feng was already dead. In such a situation, there were only two answers. 1. Luo Feng was already dead. Naturally, there was no reply. 2. Luo Feng was in closed-door training, or immersed in some incomparably important training. He didn't want to be disturbed, hence he closed the Virtual Universe Network. Anxious. The gold-robed skinny old man laughed weirdly. Looks like your disciple hasn't been replying to you. Actually, not replying to you doesn't mean he's dead. Who knows, he might be in closed-door training or something. The gold-robed skinny old man smacked his head. I'm muddle-headed. Your disciple is in Demon Note Mountain. Demon Note Mountain is filled with demon notes. He can't even stop at one place, much less go into closed-door training. It's impossible for him to train then, he's probably dead. Tru Yan's expression sunk. His eyes glowed gold and he roared, Prison Fish Emperor, I originally wanted to converse with your disciple. However, you forcefully interfered. I gave you face and converse with you. Don't talk nonsense here. Don't be anxious. The gold-robed skinny old man waved his hand. My good disciple, tell him. Yes. Mo Luo bowed respectfully. Tru Yen. Mo Luo bowed too. Tru Yen looked at the respectful and courteous Mo Luo. He couldn't help but glance at the gold-robed skinny old man. Such a good disciple, to be under your tutelage, it's a waste. Humph. The gold-robed skinny old man laughed in disdain. Tru Yen looked at Mo Luo. When did you meet Luo Feng? Tru Yen. Mo Luo said respectfully. It was a year ago. A year ago? Tru Yen frowned. The Virtual Universe Company's information was from about a year ago. Luo Feng hadn't entered the Virtual Universe network. A year. With Tru Yan's long lifespan, a year was simply too short. However, in Demon Note Mountain's environment, a year was simply too long. I'm still in Demon Note Mountain, Mo Luo said respectfully. However, I've never seen Luo Feng. Ah. Tru Yen frowned even deeper. Tru Yen, you probably don't know yet. That disciple of yours had ambushed my disciple in Demon Note Mountain. The gold-robed skinny old man said. Ambushed? Tru Yen stared hard at Mo Luo. My disciple Luo Feng ambushed you? Mo Luo was slightly nervous. Don't be afraid. The gold-robed skinny old man sat in the sofa and raised a glass of fruit wine. He waved his hand casually. With my teacher here, this ape man has no way of touching you. Speak the truth from start to finish. Speak the truth. Tru Yen stared at Mo Luo. Mo Luo took a deep breath and said, Senior Tru Yen, it's like this. I entered Demon Note Mountain earlier than Luo Feng by a period of time. In Demon Note Mountain, I discovered some Demon Note patterns, hence I stayed in a region not too far away from the beast hordes. Even though that region wasn't too far away from the beast hordes, the Demon Note strength was constantly changing, hence it was easier to deduce. One day, when I heard the beast roar, I knew that someone had angered them again. Mo Luo took a deep breath, obviously nervous. I've met with this a few times before. This time, I too hid and observed from afar. However, I saw that person actually use the cloud contact vine. I immediately guessed. That person definitely wasn't an aboriginal. A Universe Level 9 aboriginal definitely couldn't have a Domain Lord Level 9 assisting plant life form. Mo Luo said. Hence, I helped too. The two of us worked together and finally destroyed that beast. After which, we immediately fled. When he saw me, he immediately recognized me. After which he returned to his original form. I looked, it was Luo Feng. To be able to see one of us in Demon Note Mountain, I was really happy. I chatted with him for a while and swiftly fled together. Because the beast behind us would continue to chase after us after it condensed. However, I didn't expect. Mo Luo's body was trembling. Tru Yen frowned. He actually ambushed me when I wasn't on guard. At such a close distance, I couldn't even defend in time and was instantly heavily injured, after which I fought with my life and managed to survive. Mo Luo shook his head bitterly. Actually, the moment I was ambushed, I understood. He probably saw me as an opponent in the qualification battles. Now that he's gotten rid of me, he'll have a higher chance of entering the primal region during the qualification battles. Tru Yen, you heard that right. The gold-robed skinny old man laughed coldly. P.S. Chapter 2 has ended, continue writing Chapter 3. Chapter 588. Tru Yen looked at Mo Luo who was standing there obediently. Towards this primal region genius Mo Luo, Tru Yen actually had a good impression of him. However, the story that Mo Luo told made Tru Yen frown. He asked in a low voice, Is what you said true? Senior Tru Yen. Mo Luo bowed slightly. This matter was only answered truthfully after my teacher asked. Other than that, I didn't tell anyone else. Tru Yen snorted coldly. Leave, all of you leave. You're angry, Tru Yen, you're angry, The gold-robed skinny old man laughed proudly. Mo Luo bowed slightly. Tru Yen squinted his eyes, gold light gleaming. Let's go. The gold-robed skinny old man laughed twice and vanished. Mo Luo too vanished, leaving only Tru Yen alone in the room. Tru Yan's expression was cold, snorting softly. If I hadn't interacted with my disciple for so many years, I would have suspected. However, that punk Luo Feng is definitely the most resolute and decisive amongst all my disciples, the one with the most principles. After interacting with his disciple for so long, True Yen really valued him. Heart like a mirror, seeing through all lies. Heart like a blade, slicing through all illusions. To be able to do this, one would definitely have his own principles and bottom line. Such a person was extremely prideful in his bones. Like entering the primal region, if he wanted to, he would definitely use his true strength to do so. He definitely wouldn't use such disgusting methods like assassinating his opponent to win. Disciple, I believe you're still alive. Something special must have happened in Demon Note Mountain that affected you. True Yen said softly. At this time, a thought flashed in his mind. Demon Note Mountain's 32 inheritance palaces. He recently found out that one of them was occupied by an unknown life form. If only that life form was his disciple. Haha, I really can't control my thoughts. True Yen laughed and shook his head. This disciple of mine only failed after reaching the 10th island in Fantasy Ocean. That Mo Luo could survive until now, he definitely can too. Time passed. Day after day, year after year, Luo Feng was completely immersed in the Demon Note inheritance. Step by step, his soul was constantly changing. Some special techniques required the soul to be modified before they could be used. Just like his teacher Hu Yenbo's soul imprint, it required the soul to be modified too. The soul had some special properties to be able to use special techniques. In the blink of an eye, 3 years had passed. In the cave under the ice layer of the Demon Mountain, the massacre ended in an instant. Humph humph humph. Mo Luo gently licked the blood on his fingers and glanced at the corpse beneath his feet. You, a native, should be proud to die in the hands of a peak genius like me. If it wasn't for the 10,000 black tags, I wouldn't even bother. Mo Luo quickly grabbed a space belt and used his telekinesis to investigate. 31 black badges? Mo Luo's face was filled with joy. Ha ha. My luck is really good. Ha ha. Yen Yen Ming Feng, Long, Luo Luo, Feng, haha. Yen, said Luo. But since I've successfully killed 2 world overlords, it would be easier for me to accumulate black tokens. 10,000 black tags, finally enough. Mo Luo's eyes gleamed. It's been 3.5 years since I entered Demon Mountain. I could have left half a year ago. It's all for these black tags that I've endured till now, thinking of all sorts of traps etc. My hard work pays off. Mo Luo smiled, his smile was filled with glee. From start to finish, he was very satisfied with everything he did in Demon Mountain. No matter if it was investigating the situation in Demon Mountain, arranging the safest environment for himself, or ambushing Luo Feng, assassinating the aboriginal sector lords, everything was perfect. No one can block my path. Mo Luo muttered softly, my teacher is stupid too. Sinister, savage? If everyone knows you're sinister, then that's not sinister, it's just stupid. After which, Mo Luo turned and swiftly began his return journey. The return journey was very easy, because during the process of entering Demon Note Mountain, be it the Aboriginals or the Virtual Universe Company's Majesties, they would swiftly memorize the route they took. With the memory and calculation abilities of the strong, according to the routes they took, meeting points etc., they could swiftly form an incomparably accurate map in their minds. Based on the map in their minds, they would find a safe and shorter route and swiftly return. When Mo Luo flew out from one of the caves in Demon Note Mountain, he was immediately welcomed respectfully by the silver-clothed attendants. Your Majesty Mo Luo. Your Majesty Mo Luo, please. The group of silver-clothed attendants escorted Mo Luo. Very quickly, a white-robed youth swiftly came to welcome him. It was Yi Chang who welcomed Luo Feng before. Your Majesty Mo Luo. The white-robed youth smiled and led the way. Your Majesty being able to spend over 3 years in Demon Note Mountain, Yi Chang respects you. Mo Luo smiled and nodded. Please lead the way, I've already collected 10,000 black tags. 10,000 black tags? The white-robed youth was shocked. My God! To collect 10,000 black tags was simply too difficult, because even those majesties who spent huge amounts of money to buy the E-grade laser guns found it hard to succeed. This was because the E-grade laser gun required a period of charging time. Just this charging time was enough for a sector lord to easily kill them. The difference between a sector lord and a universe level 9 was simply too huge. Hence collecting 10,000 black tags was even harder than surviving for 3 years. Congratulations, Your Majesty! Congratulations, Your Majesty! The white-robed youth immediately felt that this Majesty Mo Luo's future would be even more shocking. Immediately he became even more respectful and passionate. It's been a long time since anyone has received 10,000 black tags as a reward. I heard that the reward is extremely shocking. Extremely shocking? What treasure? Mo Luo's heart skipped a beat. I don't have the authority to know. The white-robed youth said softly, however I heard that it's a shocking treasure. Hurry and lead the way. Mo Luo was tempted too. Yes. Asterisk 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 when Mo Luo safely left Demon Mountain and went to acquire the treasure. Luo Feng was proceeding with the biggest treasure of Demon Mountain, accepting the Demon Note inheritance. Inheritance stairs. Level after level of stairs extended into the depths of space. That incomparably small palace. What do I do? I'm almost at my limit. Luo Feng stood on the 1129 stairs, turning back to look at the blur of stairs that extended downwards. He then looked up at the even further stairs, frowning. According to the Supreme Demon Note Manual's information, I estimate that I'll reach my limit after another 100 to 200 levels. Luo Feng was helpless. When he had just received the inheritance, Luo Feng already knew a lot of information. The Demon Note inheritance belonged to one of the more mysterious inheritances in the vast universe. It was one of the pinnacle inheritances, and its requirements for the soul were incredibly harsh. Right, it was incredibly harsh. It was so harsh that over 1 trillion years, batch after batch of inheritors hadn't been able to complete the inheritance. To be able to make it this far, 99% of them were undyings. Undyings after undyings hadn't succeeded. How harsh was the difficulty? The Demon Note inheritance had harsh requirements for the soul, and absorbing the Blood River crystals had harsh requirements for the body. In Blood River World, it was hard to even find someone who could absorb 10 crystals, and the Golden Horned Beast had absorbed over 90 crystals. This was the reason why the body's cells were extremely strong. The Demon Note Divine General's inheritance was to find a peerless genius whose soul was extremely compatible with this set of mystic arts. If there was such a genius who could cultivate from the beginning to the end, he could become the unique Demon Note Divine General in the universe. The inheritance had extremely high requirements for the soul, and the souls of the Undyings had all undergone the transformation from Sector Lord to Undying. Hence almost every Undying soul was stronger than Luo Feng's, and by a lot. Many Undyings were stuck at the end of the first level. A portion of them were stuck at the second level. Only a handful of them were stuck at the third level. There was no life in the universe that had passed all 3 levels. And Luo Feng? His soul was only Domain Lord level 9. He hadn't even gone through the most important transformation, Sector Lord to Undying. Hence in terms of soul, Luo Feng was indeed much weaker than the Undyings. Luckily he had gone through the Primal Chaos Spirit Fusion in Primal Chaos City. His willpower and consciousness control was extremely strong, allowing him to make it to the 1129 level. However, the moment he felt the strain on his soul, it meant that his soul had already reached 90% of its limit. This was one of the information in the inheritance. I'm already feeling the strain, I'm almost at my limit. My limit should be between 1200 to 1300 levels, Luo Feng thought, and the first level should be about 3000 levels. His limit was actually only 1/3 of the first level. He had no choice. This inheritance was originally meant for the Undyings. With his domain lord level 9 soul rushing in, it would be strange how much he could withstand. What do I do? Luo Feng looked up ahead. In the distant depths of the void, that tiny shrine was the end of the first level. Once one reached it, one would be a beginner and receive the reward. This demon mountain that had existed for countless years in the universe, the treasures left behind by that ancient being definitely wouldn't be bad. However, one had to pass the first level to get it. I'm still over 2,000 levels away from the shrine. And my limit, I can only take another 100 to 200 levels. Luo Feng trained while thinking of a way. Multitasking would only slow down his cultivation speed slightly. I can't accept this. Such luck. The Virtual Universe Company has so many Undyings here, and there are trillions of beasts gathered here. This inheritance, it's so powerful. Such luck is definitely hard to come by. Luo Feng swiftly calculated in his mind, trying to see if there was any way for him to receive more of the inheritance. Accepting the 1,200 to 1,300 levels of the inheritance, reaching the limit and being forced to leave, this was something Luo Feng wasn't willing to do. However, the limit of his soul, did he have any way to change it? 3 chapters completed. Tomorrow I'll continue with 3 chapters. Writing till late at night wasn't easy. I'll have 3 chapters in the next 8 days. Everyone please vote and support me. Free recommendation tickets are good enough. Chapter 589. Today, the Chidian website required the system to be free, hence Tomato had to finish 3 chapters before 8 p.m. The soul, as the core of a flesh and blood life form, to cause it to undergo a large change. At least the current Luo Feng had no way of doing it. Slowly, Luo Feng gritted his teeth and continued to accept the demon note inheritance. 1 step at a time. On average, he would only advance 1 step a day. In the blink of an eye, a few months had passed. On the 1236th step, Luo Feng, who was completely covered in armor, knelt on one knee, panting softly. The piercing pain from his soul, endless fatigue, almost made him collapse. It's almost completely saturated. Luo Feng's eyes were filled with unwillingness. He felt the piercing pain from his soul, almost like he was being attacked by someone else's soul. That endless fatigue almost made him want to sleep. According to the information he received from the inheritance, this meant that Luo Feng's soul was almost completely saturated in terms of the inheritance. Even if he forced it, he would at most advance another 1 or 2 levels. Is this the end? Luo Feng looked up ahead. Level after level of stairs extending into the depths of space. Pa! Luo Feng's body moved, simultaneously stepping on the 1237th level stone stairs. Immediately a portion of the inheritance techniques entered his memories. However, Luo Feng didn't stop, immediately moving forward again, attempting to reach the 1238th level. When Luo Feng reached the 1238th step, Wang Chong, the peculiar melody of the demon note drilled straight into Luo Feng's consciousness. Break! Within Luo Feng's consciousness, that incomparably firm willpower roared. However, that gentle and seemingly harmless demon note actually permeated Luo Feng's willpower and consciousness without a sound. Get out! Luo Feng condensed his willpower, wanting to repel the demon note from the outside world. However, his powerful willpower and consciousness had no way of resisting against the demon note. Slowly, Luo Feng had a feeling of when he was young, listening to his mother sing beside him. Big trouble! No! No! Luo Feng knew he was rash. He didn't receive any of the inheritances and directly charged in, encountering the most terrifying demon note suppression of Demon Note Mountain. Sleep! Sleep! No! Sleep! Luo Feng felt his consciousness sink, all the way to the bottomless abyss. Luo Feng, who was standing on the 1238th step, closed his eyes and revealed a peaceful smile. Then, like a robot, He turned around and flew backward, landing on the 1237th floor. Mang Ji, the tone of the demonic tune changed. Luo Feng's consciousness continued to rise from the bottomless abyss, as though he had returned to reality from the dark world. Luo Feng fiercely opened his eyes. He woke up. Huff, 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 huff. Luo Feng breathed heavily. Beads of sweat appeared on his forehead and his face was pale. Too dangerous. Too dangerous. Earlier, I was actually unable to put up any resistance against that demonic sound. Luo Feng, who had always been extremely confident in his willpower and consciousness, felt like he had just survived a calamity. One had to know that the people who came here were basically all undyings. How strong was the resistance of an undying? The demonic sound could intimidate those gods, so how could it not intimidate Luo Feng? Luckily I guessed it back then. This demon note palace was specially designed for the inheritance, so it shouldn't pose any threat to the inheritor's life. Luo Feng felt his mind constantly receiving the information of the 1237th level of the inheritance stairs, looking up again at the end of the space and the shrine. He couldn't accept it. He really couldn't accept it. The cloud contact vine's main vines can reach up to 3,000 kilometers. I wonder if I can reach it. Luo Feng thought. Even though he felt that there shouldn't be any loopholes in the design of the Demon Note Palace, he couldn't help but want to try. He immediately extended his right hand and a thin vine extended from his right sleeve. Chi, it continued to extend. The cloud contact vine quickly grew thicker and longer, extending towards the depths of space. When the cloud contact vine had just reached universe level, its 72 main vines were already 300 kilometers long. Right now, the Domain Lord level cloud contact vines were already 3,000 kilometers long with its size. If it was placed in the center of China, its vines could cover the entire country. There's actually no resistance. No resistance at all? Luo Feng was filled with disbelief. He looked at the vine that had already extended into the distant space. Palace. The vine immediately pierced into the palace. Luo Feng's expression changed. The palace that he could see with his naked eye was actually like air. The vine's long vines swept through the palace, yet it didn't touch anything at all. What's going on? Luo Feng controlled the vine to sweep in all directions. The energy rippled. But no matter if the cloud contact vine swept past the palace or the inheritance steps, it was like it was sweeping through the air. This. Luo Feng was shocked. Following which, a second vine extended from his right hand and touched the stone stairs below him. The vine passed through the stairs, almost like it was passing through air. How can it be like this? Luo Feng frowned. Luo Feng, I finally understand. Take out another robot and see the effect. Babata's voice resounded in Luo Feng's mind. Luo Feng nodded. As he made the cloud contact vine that extended over 1,000 kilometers shrink, simultaneously he took out another robot from his space ring. This robot was completely gold in color. It was a random metal guard that Luo Feng had gotten from the Virtual Universe Company when he requested for some items. The metal guard was similar to the liquid silver guard, only it was more durable. These robots were all given to Luo Feng for free by the Virtual Universe Company. The metal guard floated in mid-air and respectfully stood before Luo Feng. Master, step on the stairs. Luo Feng ordered. Yes. The metal guard immediately descended and stepped on it. Similarly, it stepped on nothing. The gold guard's red crystal eyes immediately flashed with large amounts of words, as though he was swiftly calculating something. After which, he turned to Luo Feng and said respectfully, Master, this staircase can be seen but cannot be stepped on. However, Master can step on it. The database doesn't have a logical explanation for this. Luo Feng nodded. With a wave of his hand, he kept the robot in his space ring. Just as I guessed, it shouldn't be wrong. Babata's voice resounded. What's going on? Even though Luo Feng had a guess, he still asked. Luo Feng, this mysterious inheritance palace, all the treasures and whatnot, can only be obtained by the inheritor, Babata said. Just like the inheritance your teacher left behind, letting me take in his disciple. The bank account he left behind can only be obtained after checking and verifying that it's his disciple. One theory. To be able to construct such a terrifying inheritance palace, existing for trillions of years, even able to create undying-level beasts. Even the Virtual Universe Company has sent so many absolute undyings here. Obviously, Babata said confidently, that great being belongs to the true pinnacle eternal warriors of the universe, far surpassing your teacher. Luo Feng nodded. Right. That being who left behind the inheritance, his power had already far exceeded his imagination. After all, the demon notes he left behind could easily suppress undyings. If he were to personally act, how ridiculous would that be? Hence, such a great being, constructing this inheritance palace, all the treasures within can only be obtained by the inheritor. Babata said, it doesn't matter if you use a plant life form, or a robot, or a ship. As long as it's not the inheritor himself, you can't even touch the inheritance stairs and palace. It's almost like they exist in two different spaces. Luo Feng nodded. He couldn't even touch it. The use of space had already far exceeded his imagination. You are the inheritor, only you can touch the stairs and palace. Babata said, every inheritor must have a soul. Only then can they accept the demon note divine general's inheritance. However, a life form with a soul obviously can't resist the demon notes he left behind. We can only take it step by step. What if I can resist it? Luo Feng smiled. If he can resist the demon notes, it means that the one who came here is a great being. That kind of being coming, taking away the treasures is only natural. Babata said. Luo Feng nodded. Raising his head to look at the palace in the distance, he pondered as he accepted the inheritance. The setup is indeed perfect. The inheritance palace, only one life form can receive the inheritance at a time, and it can only be a soul form. Luo Feng exclaimed, and soul forms will definitely be suppressed by the demon notes. This way. I really have to follow that being's plan, accepting the inheritance step by step, all the way to the palace to receive the treasures. However, there are still some powerful life forms in the universe. Luo Feng stared at the palace in space. So, beside him appeared another black-clothed Luo Feng. His life energy was exactly the same as his earth body. It was the Masha clansman. My Masha clansman's natural talent, the clone, has the same energy as my earth body. Luo Feng stood where he was. At the same time Masha Luo Feng landed on the stairs. But his feet landed firmly on the stone stairs. He landed firmly on the stone stairs. Very good. Masha Luo Feng revealed a smile, immediately leaping up to the next level. Wang Chang, that terrifying demon note once again drilled into Masha Luo Feng's body. However, demon note, accurately speaking, it was a soul-type hypnosis technique, an extremely terrifying hypnosis technique. Those who got hit would lose their consciousness and become zombies. However, Luo Feng's Masha clansman didn't carry the core. The original core continued to remain in the body of the Earthling. Without the core, the Masha clansman was just like a true Masha clansman. It wasn't afraid of any soul-type attacks. As long as it had anything to do with the soul, it would be completely useless against the Masha clansman. Right, just like that. Masha Luo Feng smiled as he walked on the stairs, taking another step and another. The demon notes resounded, almost like a song celebrating Luo Feng's acquisition of the treasure. Step by step, step by step. Step by step, step by step. The great being that left behind the Demon Note Mountain inheritance probably didn't expect that a life form with a soul and a life form without a soul would actually be the same person. P.S. First chapter's up. Continue writing the second chapter. Chapter 590. The Demon Notes resounded. If one didn't look at the bewitching effects of the Demon Notes, just listening to the music itself was incomparably beautiful. The stairs in space extended upwards level by level. Masha Luofeng became a beam of light, passing through level after level, very quickly arriving at the 3333rd step. This was the last step of the first part. And in front of Luofeng was a palace that was about 1000 m tall. The outer walls were filled with all sorts of intricate carvings. The palace had 2 huge golden doors. The doors were wide open. Shrine. Luofeng looked at the huge golden door emanating a shocking pressure. In front of this huge door that was a few hundred meters tall, he was like an ant. I'm here. Luofeng immediately flew into the shrine. The hall was shrouded in fog, and above the fog floated a stone tablet. Mysterious words automatically appeared on the stone tablet. After a while, the mysterious words finished appearing. The content of the mysterious words was, "You are the 61201 inheritor who came here. You are qualified to receive the title of primary selection and receive the primary selection's reward." The moment the words finished appearing, Luofeng was looking about, trying to find the treasure reward. Suddenly, to be able to arrive here, one is to have completed the 3333rd step of the first part, the other is like you, forcefully resisting the Demon Notes to arrive. A complex and mysterious voice resounded throughout the shrine. This language was never heard before, however Luofeng understood immediately what it meant. Luofeng was shocked when he heard it. Demon Mountain had existed for trillions of years. That great being should have left long ago. To be able to resist the Demon Notes, you have to be at least a Universe Knight. A great Universe Knight, already an overlord of a part of the universe. You actually covet this little toy I left behind. Haha, since you've personally made a trip here, take this little toy. After the voice finished, 2 energy balls floated out of the mist. A golden energy ball. A gray energy ball. Masha Luofeng stood within the shrine, looking up at the 2 floating energy balls, laughing within. I think that great being left behind some sort of warning within the inheritance palace. He probably realized that I didn't accept the 3333rd step and rushed up, thinking that I forcefully resisted the Demon Note. However, he's really powerful. According to what he said, to be able to resist the Demon Notes, one has to be at least a Universe Knight. Luofeng exclaimed. Venerables were divided into space venerables and time venerables. In the vast universe, he was indeed an overlord-level character, able to create a universe country, rule over 1 trillion galaxies, and have countless citizens. Even amongst the pinnacle races, the human race, the universe country leaders were all big shot. In some of the weaker races in the universe, venerables were probably the pinnacle of power. From the looks of it, the one who left this inheritance should be stronger than the Universe Knight. Luofeng's gaze landed on the 2 energy flows. Within the clouds, a golden stream of air and a gray stream of air constantly floated over. Boom! Boom! The gray gas exploded, revealing a strangely shaped gray stone plate floating inside. The stone plate was about 3 meters long and half a meter wide. At the same time, there were incomparably complicated natural patterns on the stone plate. The complicated patterns in the center of the stone plate formed the shape of a bird. The golden airflow exploded, revealing a sparkling and translucent golden fruit. At first glance, it looked a bit like the cantaloupe that Luofeng had on Earth. However, even though this floating fruit was golden in color, it was translucent and one could faintly see the flesh inside. Moreover, it was surrounded by a golden airflow. A stone plate. A fruit. This was the treasure left behind by the inheritance palace. Luofu Lu bored. Babata was shocked. The punk who left this inheritance palace is really generous. The first treasure actually has the Luo Fu Lu board. What's that? Luo Feng asked. Luo Fu Lu board. It's similar to your dark cloud shuttle. Babata said, it's a flying weapon that can be stepped on. Flying spirit weapon? Luo Feng was curious. The spirit weapons of the universe, to the current Luo Feng, were considered very cheap. Those level 5 weapons may be expensive to sector lords, but Luo Feng didn't really care. However, this natural formed stone plate before him, Luo Feng had never seen or heard of it before. This Luo Fu Lu board, is it very valuable? Luo Feng asked. What a joke. Babata said, Luo Feng, those level 1 to 5 spirit weapons are for undyings and below to use. Undyings can't be bothered to use those weapons. Even the Nanshin armament of the 9 godly weapons, unless it's a normal undying, otherwise anyone with a bit of ability would change for a better one. Luo Feng nodded, he knew this. The weapons used by undyings come from many sources, and the Luo Fu Lu board is considered one of the most valuable flying weapons used by undyings. Those who own it, other than the few official-level undyings. Most of them are Emperor-level undyings. Babata said, it's a naturally formed stone plate, naturally formed in the universe, its power is shocking. Luo Feng was stunned. Those who own it, very few are official-level undyings. Then what about my teacher? Luo Feng asked. Which teacher? Babata asked. If it's true Yen Emperor, he'll definitely be able to get his hands on such a treasure. And my master, he's slightly weaker. The flying weapon he used back then was much weaker than this. After all, the Luo Fu Lu board's price is between 1 to 2 million mixed elements, and very few people sell it. Luo Feng took a deep breath. Calm, he had to calm down. 1 to 2 million mixed elements? Vicious, truly vicious. Luo Feng felt that he was really poor. 1 million mixed elements, what concept was that? Back then Luo Feng had participated in an auction. Back then there was a small starfield, Tana starfield. The entire starfield only sold for 1,000 mixed elements. Of course that was a small starfield. And the Black Dragon Mountain starfield was a large starfield. The number of galaxies was 20 times that of the Tana starfield. As the galaxies were all gathered together, it was more suitable for rule. The value could rise by tens of times. However, the price was only between 300,000 to 1 million mixed elements. Normally 500,000 mixed elements was enough to buy the entire Black Dragon Mountain starfield. 1 million mixed elements, that was definitely the limit. This stone plate can compare to the Black Dragon Mountain starfield? Luo Feng took a deep breath. If you give this stone plate to that undying in the sacred land Black Dragon Mountain, that undying will definitely be extremely excited and willing to exchange with you. Babata said, no matter what, the Black Dragon Mountain Empire is only the private property of an undying. Luo Feng nodded. He had to adjust his perspective. It was different from Earth. There were many countries in the universe that were private property. Like the Ganwu Universe country, it was the private property of the Ganwu Universe country leader. If there was a treasure that could raise the Ganwu Universe country leader's strength to the Primal Chaos City leader's level, the Ganwu Universe country leader would probably be extremely excited and willing to give up the Ganwu Universe country to exchange for that treasure. What's that fruit? Luo Feng asked. I don't know about that. I've followed your teacher for over 60 million years. I've seen and heard of many, but this golden fruit shape, I've never seen it before. I only know of another special golden fruit. Babata said. However, it's obviously different from this one. Asterisk, 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 asterisk within the palace. Luo Feng looked up at the 2 floating treasures in the clouds. The exchange with Babata seemed to be long. In truth, it was only an instant. At this time, the floating stone tablet in the clouds once again floated words. The beginner's rewards. The first is the Luo Fu Chi plate, a flying treasure for spirit readers. With it, the chances of survival in the dangerous universe is much higher. The second is the gold soul fruit, a mysterious fruit that only grows once every 3,000 eras. It has the miraculous effect of changing the soul, making it more suitable for receiving inheritances. The first and second parts both have treasures that can change the soul. However, up till now, no life form has been able to receive the complete inheritance. Luo Feng realized. He immediately extended his hand. It automatically extended and grabbed the two treasures, swiftly keeping the Luo Fu Chi plate and the gold soul fruit into his space ring. The gold soul fruit, so it has the miraculous effect of changing the soul. Luo Feng nodded within. Right. If I was a great being that left behind an inheritance, I'd leave behind some treasures too, helping the later generations to receive the complete inheritance. Luo Feng thought, it's a pity, even with the great being's help, the 100,000 life forms that came here, almost all undyings, none of them succeeded. Masha Luo Feng, after acquiring the two treasures, swiftly left the palace and flew downwards. He immediately flew downwards, from the highest level of the palace all the way to the 1,237th level. Standing beside the earth body, he passed the space ring to the earth body and vanished into thin air, entering Luo Feng's internal world. Luo Feng stood on the 1,237th step, looking up at the distant palace. He revealed a smile. Haha, I've really hit the jackpot this time. Luo Feng revealed a look of glee. The universe is incomparably vast and mysterious. There are many fortuitous encounters. Only by grasping them can it be considered a success. I've finally grasped it. With a flip of his hand, a completely golden, translucent fruit appeared in his hand. There was a visible golden energy flow around it. The gold soul fruit, it only bore fruit once every 3,000 eras. According to the information in the palace, the gold soul fruit can change the soul, making it more suitable to receive the inheritance. Luo Feng didn't hesitate anymore, immediately biting down on the fruit. The moment he bit through the outer skin, immediately the flesh within swiftly flowed like an energy flow into his body. Chi, even the golden skin became energy flow and flowed into Luo Feng's body. Luo Feng could only feel a cool energy flow into his body, after which it swiftly flowed into his core, permeating into the crystallized soul. The golden energy continued to flow in, and Luo Feng's soul swiftly underwent some changes. His entire soul changed from a blood-red color to a bit of gold. How comfortable! The piercing pain from before is gone. I don't feel tired at all, instead I feel 100 times more energized. Luo Feng could clearly feel his soul transforming, even the tiredness is gone. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Ha 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 ha! I can receive even more inheritances. Luo Feng was overjoyed. Luo Feng, about the Luo Fu Chi board, let me remind you. Babata's voice resounded in his mind.